Cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna...
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up everybody? It's Marcus Grant from NFL Network.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up, yeah. Go and roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down, cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right, cause I roll my sleeves up.
What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. I'm Anthony, aka Rasta. This is Get Right Fantasy Network. And I'm here solo tonight, man. But it's all good, man. My boy Classic Mike is out with Mrs. Classic, enjoying a nice concert, man. So I hope they're having a good time over there. So it's just me tonight, man. But it's not just me. It's me with all of you guys out there. So appreciate you guys for stopping by. Of course, we have Ron in the house. What's up, Ron? Saying, trying to trick me with the earlier start times, but alas, I'm here and you are not. We did beat you last week or on Wednesday, so we're trying to pull a fast one, but it was just me here trying to do my sound test and everything. It's kind of hard to do when you're by yourself, so hopefully I can, hopefully I can hear you properly there. So there we go, man. So we're here though. He says, what's with the Raiders color background? I like just doing the black and white. Kind of allows my complexion to come through. It's not too draining in the background here. But just a little alternate version of our logo. Just simple black and white version. What I use for my background here, man. So that's just me. I just wanted to be a little different from the other fellas using their backgrounds, but it is what it is. So again, appreciate you for joining me out here. Make sure you guys, if you have any questions, you can always drop them in the chat and let me know what you have going on with your leagues right now. Today, hope you guys are ready to roll those sleeves up, man. It's going to be a grind. The start sit show is always a good one, but we're here to do a little recap of my Niners. Putting a little, putting it on the Giants a little bit there on Thursday. Could have been a little better, but on a short week, I think it was still nice. It felt a lot closer than it really was with that 30-12 score. So we'll get into that a little more here. Classic did leave a couple notes for me. I was definitely excited to be able to talk to him about this one after our two teams, battled yesterday. So, is what it is. Probably why he didn't show up tonight, honestly. So he didn't have to face me, but I had to rep the Niner hat, just to put it out there a little bit. But I have his comments here, so we'll definitely get into that. We have game by game previews. We're going to do our start sits like we do here every Friday. So we'll go game by game, discuss the injury news, who we're starting, who we're sitting because of that. And hopefully get your lineups right come Sunday. And of course, like I said, always taking your questions in the chat. So if you have anything you want to contribute, feel free to drop it in there, and I'll do my best to get to it. And if you guys are watching later, happen to be watching later, didn't catch me here live, make sure you guys go check out the description. I have I'm starting to get a little fancy here. I have the chapters set up in there. So you'll be able to see the timestamps because, of course, when we start taking Q&As and stuff like that, if you're just looking for specific games, specific players, you'll be able to go there, select which game you'd like, hear our recap there. And again, we appreciate you for being part of Get Right Fantasy here. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you're checking us out for the first time. If you're already subscribed, hit that like button for us, man. Really helps us out. It's just like almost subscribing again for us. We are trying to grow to hit that 1,000 sub mark. We kind of keep teetering here at about 9. We need like 27 more. We're in the 970s. We got a couple folks on Wednesday joining us, so hopefully they'll be back here tonight. And we're just having fun growing, man. We're all going through this whole fantasy season together, so it's going to be a lot of fun as we continue to grow and have bigger and better things coming for you guys. So we always appreciate the support. And of course, you guys can get in the description and join our fantasy sleeper channel. It's kind of like our Discord. It's our private sleeper channel. So you can go in there, post your team screenshots, your league, ask start-sit questions, ask trade questions anytime. So you don't have to wait for us to be live. Myself and a ton of other folks in the Get Right community will all give you our feedback and help walk you through whatever you're facing there. So hopefully you join us for that. So it could be a lot of fun. Just to kind of give you guys a rundown of, if you are new here to the channel, kind of what we do. On Mondays, we have our overreaction show with Frank and I. We kind of overreact to the games, or just kind of react now. We're reacting to the games, and of course discuss waiver wire targets heading into the Wednesday waivers. On Wednesday night, it's probably my favorite show, the roster management show, as I like to call it now, the Rasta management show. So we get into the buy, sell, trade targets. We take your live Q&A questions throughout that show. And then Fridays, again, usually Classic Mike and I are here to do our game-by-game start sits, live Q&A, of course, taking your questions at all times. And Sunday mornings, Classic will be back here, and he will be here this Sunday to do the actives, last-minute actives, inactives, and get your last-minute start sit advice for anything that we can't answer right now because we don't have all the info. Maybe like Joe Burrow, what to do in those situations. So I'm sure we'll have a lot of questions there. So again, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button for us. And if you're already subscribed, make sure you hit that like button for us so we can get started. So we have some folks rolling around in here. We have Martin in the house. What's up, Martin, man? He says, hey, man, sorry I couldn't pull through tonight. I'll leave a tab open for a review, though, my friend. So, of course, we appreciate that. Martin's kind of holed up right now. Got some little bit of sickness going on. Did invite him to come on here with me to help answer your guys' questions in here, but he's not feeling up to the weather. So wish you a speedy recovery, my friend. Got a lot going on. Just got done having, I think, your tonsils or something taken out, and now dealing with sickness right after that. But more importantly, just get yourself better. And, you're always welcome here at Get Right, man. So you let me know when you're better, and we'll get you back on. We have, let's see, J Media in the house. What's up, J Media? My fellow Niner brethren. He says, LFG, let's fucking go, Niners. Rolling hard. Sheesh, let's go, man. It was a great game yesterday. A lot of fun. Wished, of course, we had Brandon Ayuk out there. But, beggars can't be choosers, I guess. I'm glad they sat him on a short week. Make sure he's healthy and rested up. We shouldn't have needed him to beat the Giants. And I mean that in the nicest way. But, it's better to not put him out there and risk further injury. And, of course, we'll get into that game here in a second. Before we do, I, of course, have to thank our sponsor, UnderdogFantasy.com. For those of you guys who don't know, it's a best ball platform. That's kind of the main thing they do. In addition to that, they're also doing their pick'ems now in season. One of the biggest things that I like with them right now is their new promo that they have going on. So for all the new users out there, you guys probably know, use that promo code GETRIGHT when you sign up, and you'll get that 100% deposit match, usually up to $100, but now they've bumped it up to $500. So $500, man. I don't know how you can't, I don't know how you can't pass that up. I wish I was just signing up right now so I can get that deal. Again, a minimum of 10 up to 500, 100% match when you make that first deposit, when you use that promo code GETRIGHT. More importantly, when you do sign up now, in addition to the match, you'll get the mystery pick'em special when you do sign up, and for your pick'ems. And in addition to any other special pick'ems that they have going on, or featured picks, which right now they have, let's see, I think I have it here, the Tyreek Hill promo. So higher or lower at 89.5 yards. 89.5 yards, you're picking higher or lower, and they're basically giving away $100,000 on Sunday. So 10 lucky winners will get $10,000 each. You don't even need to win. All you have to do is just put in a pick'em bet or a pick'em card. Choose higher or lower. Mix it with some other pick'ems that you have, and basically they're going to select 10 winners at random to give away $100,000. And again, you don't even need to win to qualify for it. You just need a eligible pick'em pick 'em bet. So again, use that promo code GetRight and go have some fun, man. So it's a lot of fun. Love those pick'ems. They're too much fun. Gives you a little extra something to root for as you're going through your Sunday. All right, so let's get into it here. Let me get the banner back on when I'm running the whole show by myself here. It's all good, man. So we have got the chat going off here already, man. Again, you guys got any questions or anything you want to contribute, always drop it in the chat. You guys, you guys take it away in there in the chat amongst yourselves. But again, if I see any questions, I'll definitely pop them up. You got Jay Media saying this week, Kittle had 13 points versus his Waller 4.3 points. It's going to be a long week for him. He's already down 0-2. The only saving grace is at least it was a Niner that kind of beat you, so to speak. That's why I usually try not to draft Niners, so that, when I am going against them, if they do beat me, I'm kind of like, well, I mean, I expected that at least. But again, it's the tight end position. Yeah, it kind of gets tough to be outscored 13 to 4.3. But hopefully you have some nice wide receivers in there. You can make up that difference heading into Sunday. So those Thursday games will do that. So you start dwelling over like 10 points and you see that projection adjust, and it gets a little rough, but we all go through it, man. You got Ron out here saying feel better, Martin. So there you go. And Ron says, I got to start going to that sleeper main page because I always talk in the league one now. I could be annoying even more people. It's not annoying to me. I love it, man. I love how active you are in our chat. But definitely feel free to make threads, put your chats, anything you want to do there in the sleeper channel, man. Make sure you check it out, get in there. And again, that goes for anybody else out there watching. Jay Media saying, I need to ask Rasta about Keandre Miller. WTF, man. Sheesh. So, yeah, Keandre Miller should be a big week. Or I don't want to say big week, but we'll get into it when we get in the game by game, man. So check it out. Stay around here. If you can't, again, you'll be able to get down there in the descriptions a little later and be able to just jump right to that game. And you'll hear my thoughts regarding Keandre Miller and that situation there. So, got Martin saying thanks to Ron over here, man. So there you go, man. Let's see. Jamie D says, Ross, so you deserve a beer tonight. Go ahead and grab one. I do, my friend. I got one right here. I won't show the total label here because they don't pay me yet. But I got enough. So we'll get through that. Since it's just me talking tonight, I got to make sure I keep the vocal cords nice and ready to go. So there we go. We got Emil in the house. What's up, Emil? How's it going, man? Saying what's up, everyone. Welcome to the Friday show. There we go. Everyone welcome them. Love this community, man. Such a cool community. Everybody saying what's up. So there we go. Emil's asking, are we starting Garrett Wilson with confidence this week? As long as Zach Wilson's the quarterback, I don't think you're ever starting him with confidence. I think you're more so kind of forced into starting him. Just my personal opinion. Obviously, he's kind of, saved himself with those 2 touchdowns the last 2 weeks. Obviously, that's not going to happen any week or every week. But, I mean, that pretty much goes for anyone. So the talent's still there. We still start guys that have bad quarterback situations. I mean, look what Mike Evans is doing with, Baker Mayfield. So it's not totally absurd and out of the question. Just him being the potential wide receiver 1, or like a top 3 or top 5 wide receivers probably out of the question at this point. But, that's kind of the risk, I guess, or not even a risk you're willing to take. It's just kind of the hand you're dealt, so to speak. Obviously, losing Rodgers after like 4 plays with that torn Achilles. So, if you invested in Wilson, then that's just kind of the situation you're in. Maybe you can get off him, trade him. But at the same time, he's still going to be the alpha there. He's going to get the targets. You just hope Zach Wilson could just be somewhat confident to make him be fantasy relevant for you. So good luck to you. And just, again, stay on the wire. You never know what's going to happen. And doesn't mean it's the total end of the world. He's just more like a mid to low end wide receiver 2 at this point, with some a couple weeks, he might be in that top 12. So that's what you can hope for. What else have we got here? Ron says, always Bud Light. Don't you like any other beers? Bud Light tastes like water. It does, man. I mean, I'm not trying to get like totally wasted out here with you guys. I want to still be competent and make sure, people understand what's going on. Like I said, it's just kind of there to wet the vocal cords and keep me right. We got to get right here for the show. But more importantly, it's cheap, man. We don't have 1,000 subscribers yet. We're not making any money here yet. So maybe once we get those subscribers up, I'll be able to afford a little something more besides the Bud Light over here. So maybe you guys can help me. So there you go. And see, Jamie D gets it, man. He says it's on sale though. So that's what I'm saying, man. Those 3 packs, when they're all there, it's good. But I definitely would love a Corona or, something like that. But again, those guys don't pay me yet. So for now, it's the Rasta beer. So, so there you go. Jamie D said, I challenge Rasta to shotgun if we kicked it in person. Maybe once we open up our like what do they call those? The super chats. Maybe we'll take like a shot or chug a beer or something if we get a certain amount of super chat in there for like a $25 or a $50 super chat or something, and you guys can have like Classic and I try to pound a beer and see who wins or something. So it'll be a lot of fun when we get there. And yeah, it's definitely not natty. So I don't think I've ever had a natty ice. I haven't been that broke yet. And I hopefully plan on not getting that point. But no, I mean, I know people like their beer, so it's all good, man. Whatever your choice is, as long as you're here with us, that's all we need. All right, so let's get into it here. We're already 16 minutes in, and I'm just rambling. I can just hang out with you guys all night. You guys know that. But we have a show to do, so let's get to it. All right, so let's start with the Thursday night recap, man. Giants 12 at my Niners 30. So that's 30 points for us in the first 3 games. So I can't have no complaints there. We're putting up points. Our defense is doing good. I kind of gave up a little bit in the first drive, which you kind of expect on a Thursday with that defense. Usually defenses aren't as great. Not having that full rest after all those car wrecks that they've been in the previous Sunday. So is what it is. I was hoping we could have pitched a shutout, similar to the Cowboys, as I was talking on Wednesday. It felt a lot closer than it really was. In my opinion, it was kind of close there in the first half. But then in the second half, we made our adjustments, came out, and kind of put them away. So that's what I like to see. You got Jay Median here saying the Niners O-line is looking proper. So I mean, there's some things that can be cleaned up. I mean, we saw Trent Williams get flagged like 2 or 3 times. Probably should have been ejected. Kind of a big little controversy thing there with that punch he threw at the end of the half. I'm glad they didn't throw him out over something like that. I mean, the hits that these guys are putting on, defenseless receivers to me are more egregious than the little face mask punch, if you want to call it that. I mean, these guys are playing hard, especially in the trenches in there. Let those guys get at it. But of course, that's because, it was Trent Williams. If someone was throwing a punch at my guy, then of course I'd want him out of there. So there's definitely some biased opinion in that one. As far as the news in this one, Debo, I'm sure I had a big scare, of course, when he went down. Looks like it was probably just the wind that got knocked out of him. He did have x-rays. They came back as no fracture. Ribs are okay. It's just a pain tolerance thing. He's sore, considered day-to-day, but we have kind of the mini bye week playing on Thursday. So it gives us like 11 days until our next game. So I'm sure he should be fine for that. We got Smokey the Cat in the house saying, what's up, Rasta? How's it going, Smokey? He said he just traded Jacobs for Debo, hoping that was a good move. Depends on how you feel about Jacobs. Doesn't look great over there. I heard something earlier today saying that he's basically faced a lot of too high coverage last year with all the deep shots that Carr was taking to Adams. This year, they're basically stacking the box, kind of giving Jacobs the, Derrick Henry treatment. They're not, they're going to make Garoppolo beat him, which I know a lot about that. Is what it is. So I don't think it's a bad move, especially if you're really, needed wide receiver. I think Debo will be just fine. He had a big game, of course, because Ayuk was out. But this guy's just a ball player, man. So have him in your lineup's never a bad thing. He's definitely going to get usage. He's going to score, probably every other game or so. So, in my opinion, I don't hate it. I think it was, could go either way. again, I'm kind of buying low on Jacobs right now anyway. So the fact that you're kind of able to sell him and still get Debo, I think that was a good come up. So congratulations, and just good to know you'll be rooting for the Niners. It sounds like then. So I'm all for that. Let's see here. Oh yeah, you guys are just talking to yourselves in there. So there you go. Ron's just saying he has Jacobs in every league. So, he's on the Jacobs side of that, it looks like, but they're both good players either way. So like I said, it was a nice trade for both sides if it's what you needed. Just the only scary part right now is trying to trade a running back. I've been trying to put a bunch of trades out there, trying to get running backs. I've been hit by the JK bug. I've been hit by the Nick Chubb bug. So I'm definitely out there shopping for running backs, but no one's really willing to come off them, and I don't blame them. So, you kind of just is what it is. You're kind of stuck at that point right now. But definitely, if you can have an opportunity to get a running back the way they're going down right now, it is what it is. And Ron saying he likes Debo. He's fine. So that's huge coming from an Eagles fan. So shout out to you, Ron, there, respecting the Debo. He's just a football player, man. I don't know how if you like football, you have to like guys like Debo. I mean, he's just a ball player, and that's what you're looking for. So anyway, I probably shouldn't be getting to the chat because it might mess up the whole chapters here, but we'll finish up on this recap. Again, not too much to talk about. I've talked about a lot already. I do want to read Classic's notes on here. I did ask him, what are your takeaways so I can read it off on the show? And he proceeded to just say no comment on that one. And obviously him not being here kind of speaks for itself. No, I'm just kidding. But no, he really did say no comment. He said he thought the Giants did well considering the competition they were facing. He could have just said, facing the Niners. But, I see how it is. Might be a little salty. He said since their left side of the line was a little depleted, San Fran looked fluid. Burrito's the workhorse now with Saquon. Obviously, the news coming out there that he has a high ankle sprain, which is maybe something similar to what Eckler's dealing with potentially too. So again, just something to keep an eye on. We'll get into that a little bit later. He said the Giants had the right idea to be fast to the outside and stay away from Fred Warner and Hufanga in the middle. He said it's hard to figure out the pass catcher hierarchy for the Giants. Obviously, with Wan'Dale Robinson coming back, it was nice to see him back out there making a couple catches. But, hard debut. And he even said Debo's the man in all caps. He said it's just clear and simple. So, again, it doesn't matter what team you're rooting for. Debo's just someone you love to see, man. He goes for every yard, doesn't care about anything, reckless. I don't want to say like reckless in a bad way, but just he don't care. Like he's putting the hit on you as an offensive player. And, that takes a mental toll, I think, on the defense, knowing that this guy ain't going down easy or, you're going to put a lick on him. So that's why it was scary to kind of see him go down because normally he gets right up right away when he's putting the hit on people. But again, I think he just fell on the football, kind of knocked the wind out of him for a little bit. And again, x-rays were negative, so he should be good to go. So we'll wrap that up, man. Again, Giants 12, Niners 30. Niners now 3-0 starting off. So it's nice to finally get off to a good start. Usually we're like 1-2, 0-3, 2-4, something crazy. So it's nice to get out to a 3-0 start. Giants are sitting at 1-2 right now. So we'll see how it plays out. All right. So Ron says the Giants hierarchy is never roster a giant wide receiver in a statement. So enough said there. Enough said. What? So Ron says he has a closet full of Rice, Montana, and Lott jerseys. Let's go. Let's go. Ronnie Lott actually owns a car dealership for my hometown where I went to high school and kind of grew up out there. Owns a Toyota out there. So I actually got to coach the Pop Warner team there in that town. And I actually coached with Coach Turner, Keena Turner's father. And so that was a lot of fun. That was back when I was like 18, 19, coaching with Keena Turner's dad. I was just blown away. It was amazing. Great. I mean, it's probably why I'm doing what I'm doing right now as far as just how much I love, football. So, I guess a little name drop there. Never hurt anybody. And I guess before we move on to the next thing, how do I not talk about Brock Purdy, BCB in the house, 310 yards, 2 touchdowns, his first 300-yard game. You got Christian McCaffrey going crazy. He's the RB1 right now, unquestioned. But yeah, man, protect Brock Purdy at all costs. got to get him in there. We got to make sure we keep him healthy and we have a chance. We got Alan in the house. What's up, Alan? If you're new here to Get Right, we appreciate you coming and checking us out. Hopefully hit that subscribe button for us here. We'll get to your question. He says, rest of the season, pick 2, Jerry Jeudy, JSN, or Jacoby Meyers. It is a standard league, so you're looking for touchdowns, no PPR. So he says, again, pick 2, Jerry Jeudy, JSN, Jacoby Meyers. I'd have to say, man, that's really tough. I wouldn't drop any of these guys. Obviously, try to see if you can trade one. I'd personally probably maybe go Jerry Jeudy and Jacoby Meyers, just because we don't know. Again, it takes a little while for rookies to pop off, but he could have a big second half of the year. Obviously, if anything happens with an injury or something like that. But I think these are 3 wide receivers that have good value. So maybe you can hopefully work out a trade so you're not just having to drop one of these guys. You'd hate to see something like that, but I assume maybe like Jacoby Meyers was in your IR spot, and in order to set your lineup this week, you have to maybe drop one of these guys. But I'd be working as hard as I can, even if you had to do a 2-for-1, just to maybe slightly upgraded player. Even if you kind of lose the trade in a vacuum, it's better than just giving somebody one of these guys for free on the wire. So at least try to do something like that. That's something I recommend. Do a 2-for-1 and try to upgrade, one of those players. Again, unless it's 2 complete players you love. But for me, that's kind of just my thought process on that. But again, probably let the rookie go because Jeudy and Meyers should produce for you like right now. And when it comes to redraft, that's what you're looking for. You want to get those points there now. Looks like Meyers is going to be back from his concussion. Jeudy was able to make it through the game with no setbacks. And again, Jason, been getting like a steady 5-6 targets or so. And I'm sure he could pop off any time. Maybe if DK ends up sitting this week, he could have some value. So it might be a time where you can actually package JSN with somebody else, get a player, and open up that roster spot. So there you go. Yeah, and Ron saying he's a PPR, so JSN is droppable. Fitzander dropped JSN, so looks like we're agreeing there. All right, so we'll move on. So we'll get into our start sit here now. We'll go game by game. So the first game here is going to be Colts, who are 1-1, at the Ravens, who are currently 2-0. Let me get this off the screen here. So again, Colts 1-1 at Ravens 2-0. Right now, we have the Ravens looking like they're favored by 8 points currently. We have I just want to make sure it's still current. Yep, 44.5 or just 44-point over-under in this game. Big news here, of course, is Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson has been ruled out with his concussion. So it looks like Gardner Minshew will get the start there. You have on the Ravens side of the ball, looks like Odell is going to be out with the ankle injury that he's been dealing with. So maybe it's the Bateman show finally this week, maybe with Odell out, and we'll see if he can maybe have a little breakout game here. Zay Flowers, as Ron's mentioning here, flower power. There we go. So he's saying, we're definitely starting Flowers. I'd throw Bateman in the lineup if you can, kind of like more like a flex, maybe wide receiver 3, depending on what your team makeup is. I don't think he's someone who like you're moving people or do anything crazy to get him in your lineup, but someone I'd feel confident putting in there with Odell being out. On the Colts side of the ball, Minshew going up against this defense, it's kind of hard to start anybody here. You're probably most likely going to have to start Pittman. It could be good, with Minshew, throwing the ball there. We'll see. Staying away, from Zach Moss against this Ravens defense this week. So I have him as a sit. Josh Downs I have as a sit. Alec Pierce I have as a sit. Technically Minshew I have as a sit as well. So to me, really Pittman, if you need, or he's probably the only one on the Colts side of the ball that I would feel a little bit comfortable starting. On the Ravens side of the ball, Gus Edwards, looks like Justice Hill is going to be out, so should be the Gus Edwards show. Haven't really used him in the passing game, so we'll see if they end up doing that this week. So I'll definitely be keeping my eye on that. And we're definitely firing up Lamar. You're firing up, Mark Andrews. You're firing up again. I'd like to start Bateman and start Zay Flowers. So there we go. Pretty simple game to go there. Ron saying you can play Zach Moss. He's saying he'll at least be a flex just by usage alone. I mean, not if he's like Cam Akers, man, 22 carries and 29 yards. I don't know about that. So, is what it is. So yeah, so that'll wrap up. We'll wrap up Colts Ravens there. We'll move on here. Got Ty. He said, "We back. What's up, Ty? Welcome back, man. Glad to have you back again. Appreciate you hitting that sub button for us and coming and checking us out here on Friday. Sorry I didn't have my boy Classic Mike here with me. He might join us a little bit later. But for now, we'll get into your question. He's saying he has a 10-man PPR. He has Josh Allen, Austin Eckler, James Cook, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Mike Williams, Mark Andrews, Ken Walker the third, or the second. I thought he's Ken Walker the third. How many lines is that? I can't tell. On his bench, he has Jerome Ford, Christian Kirk, who I do like this week with Zay Jones being out. We'll get into that a little bit later. Jahan Dotson, kind of souring on him a little bit. I need to see some pop out of him. He has Sharps on the bench, Deontay. He has Aljair, Roshan, and Kenny Gainwell. He said he traded Ken Walker and Christian Kirk for AJ Brown. Whew. Do I like that trade? I mean, considering, you got Amon-Ra now instead of Mike Will. You still have Eckler and Cook with Sharps still kind of on the bench and Jerome Ford. I'd say I like it. I know Ron will probably agree with that. Big Eagles fan there, getting AJ Brown. Now you'll be able to roll out Brown and Amon-Ra. So you kind of bought low on Brown after that low game he had last week. Ken Walker, I think is, I just hate losing him because it looks like, he hasn't been losing much work to Sharps so far. But again, if anything were to happen to him, you already have Sharps as the backup there. So you might kind of get him back anyway, so to speak. So to, do that 2-for-1 for AJ Brown, you definitely went and got a, like first round type guy in a 10-man league. You're always going for elite players at your position. So you want to stack that starting lineup with as many elite options as you can. So as far as a 10-man strategy, definitely giving you the W on that one. So well done. And just again, gotta stay a little bit healthy there. Ford has kind of a tough matchup, but if Ford could hold you over until Eckler gets back, then you're definitely going to be in good shape. You do have Josh Allen, so you kind of have that QB advantage. You're going to have two studs at wide receiver. You have a stud tight end. You're doing everything right. So keep us posted, man. Keep coming here every week and let us know how it's rolling for you. So there you go. Yep. So yeah, he said, yeah, it's a win. So there we go. Let's see. What else do we have here? Okay, y'all just going. So yeah, we got Ty saying thank you, bro. So of course, man, appreciate it. Thanks for coming out, man. I thank you. So you got anything else you got? Any of your leagues going on? You guys can always drop it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll continue on here with my start sits. Next game that we'll have on the docket here is going to be the Titans, who are 1-1, at the Cleveland Browns, who are also 1-1. Opened up at Cleveland favored by 3. It's currently at Cleveland by 3.5. And right now we're sitting at a 39.5 point over under. So they're not expecting a ton of points in this one. Browns, Titans both have great defenses. Titans are kind of, sitting basically kind of as your number one rushing defense right now. Giving up the fewest amount of fantasy points to the running back position, which kind of sucks after everybody's, spent a bunch of money on on Jerome Ford, and then his next 3 matchups are pretty brutal. But definitely his first starting game going up against this Titans rushing defense is definitely going to be a challenge. So we'll see what he's made out of here. We'll find out if he is matchup proof, if they're getting him the work. You have Kareem Hunt here. They're saying he will play this week. Still to be determined how much exactly, but it looks like he will suit up and play. So again, just something to kind of keep an eye on. We probably won't be able to tell what exactly the split's going to be based on the outcome of this game, but definitely something you want to see positive out of Jerome if you're Jerome Ford owner to make sure he's going to continue on there. On the Titans side of the ball, you have Derrick Henry, who's been dealing with the toe issue. He was back at practice today, which was a great sign, heading in the right direction to be able to play Sunday. So just have to make sure you tune in on Sunday morning with Classic Mike to find out if he is going to be active or not for that early slated games. But just in case, make sure you guys go out there if you are the Henry owner, that you have Spears on your bench to maybe throw him in there if you need to, depending on what your running back room looks like. We also have DeAndre Hopkins. He's officially listed as questionable. He is going to be traveling with the team. Again, promising sign to Cleveland. He still believes he has a chance to play. He said his ankle responded well after playing on it last week, but he did miss practice time this week, just like he did last week. Went out and played. Wasn't very effective. Kind of depends on what you kind of think. Obviously, he's not going to be at 100%, but being out there against these Browns, we saw what George Pickens was able to do. If there's some poor tackling, missed tackles, things like that, and he hopefully should get the target share there. So if he suits up, I have a lot of shares of D Hop. I'll be throwing him in my lineup. So he's definitely a start for me. Burks, I'd go ahead and fire him up as well. Chig, if you have him, any tight end really, you probably just stream. See how it goes. On the Titans, that's on the Titan side. Again, on the Brown side, want to sit Ford unless you don't have any other options, especially if you're the Chubb owner. And now you have Ford, you might be in a position where you have to start him. I know I have a couple leagues that are like that myself. Deshaun Watson hasn't looked great lately. If you have an opportunity to sit him, possibly, maybe you do. But of course, in those 1 QB leagues, you're most likely having to fire him up. Definitely in Superflex, you're going to have to fire him up, and just hope he starts to put it together. Again, he didn't play for almost 2 years, so it may take a couple games for him to, kind of get all that rust, so to speak, all the way knocked off. Or maybe this is just who he is right now, and it was a complete waste of $230 million. So let's just hope it's not the latter. So I think I covered everybody in this game. If I missed someone, you guys let me know, and I'll go back to it. But other than that, I think I'm pretty much done talking about Titans Browns at this point. So we'll pop into the chat here. They were talking about Kirk. There we go. Okay, we got Ty saying, "Oh man, always man." So he'll be staying in, joining us here throughout the year. Oh, and he's a Browns fan here, sadly. Oh man, that's good though, man. At least you haven't really had anything to root for a long time. Probably came through, your family being Browns fans. I'm sure that's why you got into it. If you want to hop over here on the Niners bandwagon, man, I don't even say you're a bandwagon fan. You just come be part of the faithful if you want. Otherwise, stick with your Browns, man. They'll have their time. They'll come around, and football will be good when the Browns are good. Look at the Lions, man. They went from 0-16 to potentially being Super Bowl contenders now. I mean, it's taken like 10 years, but it could happen. So it could happen. We got Drunk Squidward saying, "What's up, Ross? What's up, Drunk? How you doing, man? Welcome here to the Friday show." So there you go. And I got to get this take from Ron. He says, "Here's what I'll say about Ford. You don't know he has the Chubb. You don't know he has the Chubb role. You hope he filled in for Chubb. So of course, the game he had the Chubb role, you will see more design runs for Watson. And so yeah. So for those of us who are starting Watson, that's why he had even though he didn't look great passing the ball, that's why he still had, I think it was like 42, 45 rushing yards that first game with a rushing touchdown. So that definitely helps. Well, he's going to need to pull out all the stops, pull everything out of his bag, so he can get back, get back to doing what he needs to do. So Ron says they'll also run DPJ out of the backfield, and so you'll want to get Chubb. You will get like a low RB2 flex type position. I don't know if I read that right, but I think I get what you're saying there. Ty says, yeah, he's from Cleveland. So yeah, man, it's all good. We have we need some Niner representation out there in Cleveland. So there you go. See, J Media, we're saying come aboard, man. We're all here for you. We're all here for you, man. We'll take everybody. We want to get that thing going. We have Drunk Squidward in here saying, you think Aaron Jones plays? And if he does, is he a start? I don't know if he's on a snap count if he plays. He's basically always on a snap count. I mean, that's split backfield with him and A.J. Dillon anyway. I think he has a very defined role. We saw that week 1 when he finished as the RB1. You know, if he's back and healthy, that means he's at a point where he feels he can contribute to the team. So, you know, they're not going to run someone like Aaron Jones out there as a decoy. You know, so to me, if he's in the lineup, I'm most likely firing him up. And we'll definitely get to that when we get to our Green Bay breakdown a little bit later. So there we go. Yeah, man. We're trying to get to that Super Bowl, man, for sure. I don't know if I could say that. Hopefully I don't get canceled for saying that. The big game. Trying to get to the big game. So there we go. All right. So we'll move on here. Next game I have here on my list is going to be the 2-0 Falcons headed to Detroit to face the 1-1 Lions. So who would have thought that the Falcons would have been 2-0 and the Lions would have been 1-1? I mean, maybe if you saw you probably thought they were going to lose to the Chiefs, not lose last week, but it's kind of flipped. But either way, Falcons Lions started out at a 3-point favorite by Detroit. Looks like it's been pushed up now to Detroit being favored by 3.5. Started at a 46.5 point over under, dropped down now to 45.5 point over under. So as far as the Falcons side of the ball, you're starting Bijan, Algier, flexible, RB2, given the scape of the running back position right now. Lions, kind of been a little susceptible on the ground in years past. Doing okay this year so far. Their matchups are, we'll see how it goes. But, if I had Algier, given the state of the running back position, I try to find a way to get him in my lineup. We have Desmond Ridder. He's a sit and 1 QB leagues. Same thing in Superflex. If you're forced to start him, he could obviously has that rushing upside for you. You hope he gets in the end zone a couple times. But again, you're going to have Bijan and Algier taking most of that. We did see kind of Pitts and Drake London bounce, or we saw Drake London bounce back a little bit. We're still have a APB out for Pitts. He's basically kind of been a sit for me, but it was some positive signs there with Drake London. So I think I'd be comfortable starting him as like my wide receiver 3 or a flex this week if you really needed to. See what they kind of build off of there. Again, it's going to take a little time. We have who else on that offense? Matt Collins I have as a sit, and no one else really. Cordell Patterson, he's listed as questionable. Maybe he plays, but he's definitely a sit right now until we see what his role is going to be. They're saying mostly he's going to be a return guy if he ends up being active anyway. On the Lions side of the ball, we have, unfortunately, David Montgomery listed as doubtful. So that hurts a lot of my lineups personally. But want to get him healthy so he can get back out there and start contributing to my fantasy lineup. Until then, fire up Jahmyr Gibbs. Hopefully we see Jahmyr Gibbs get the David Montgomery and the Gibbs role, and hopefully just kind of be spilled by Reynolds here and there. The last thing I want to see is Reynolds getting the Demont role and Gibbs just kind of staying in that role he's had, kind of gradually increasing week by week. So, definitely something I'm going to be keeping my eye on this weekend to see what happens in that situation. And as far as Amon-Ra St. Brown goes, you guys know he's been kind of limited this week with that toe issue. Dan Campbell saying he feels pretty good that the Sun God will play. He didn't say Sun God. He said Amon-Ra St. Brown will play this week. So that's good news. Obviously, if he's in there, you're firing him up in that lineup. Josh Reynolds, the other Reynolds on this team, instead of Chris, the running back. You got the wide receiver, Josh Reynolds. He's looking like he's the wide receiver 2 on that team right now. So I would definitely fire him up, until he gives you a reason not to start him. If he had some of these injuries, he's definitely a guy you can get in your lineups. And Sam Laporta, fire him up, man. I think he has 10 catches on 11 targets. He went 5 for 5 the first week. I think 5 for 6 the second week, in that like 50-yard range or so. PPR is good for you. We just want to see him get in the end zone here soon, hopefully. But I'm firing him up in a couple of leagues that I have him. So there we go. Again, if I missed anybody, let me know. Otherwise, we'll continue to move on. So we have Richard Hernandez. How's it going, Richard? Welcome here to the Friday Get Right show. He says he's in a standard league. 2 standard league questions, man. I thought these things were obsolete. I'd like to see people still out there playing standard. I almost tried to back out of my standard home league this year, but Frank didn't let me. So I'll probably get in there. It's just standard's so tough. It just makes so many guys, you're just playing like who's going to score a touchdown. It doesn't feel like anything. But again, they're still out there. Gotta love it. So here we go. He says he needs a flex. Are we starting Drake London, Jerry Jeudy, Jerome Ford, or James Conner? In a standard league, you're kind of looking for who's going to have the best opportunity at a touchdown, as I was just saying. And I think in this situation, you're going to go with James Conner. No competing guys in the backfield. Oh, man, he's playing the Cowboys, though. Oh, that's so tough. Yeah, your running backs have some tough matchups. But again, Matt Breida scored against the Niners defense. No one thought that would probably happen. I think he had 4 carries, and one of those happened to be a touchdown for like 10 yards or something crazy like that, but still was able to get in the end zone. Ooh, that is so tough. Let's take a look here. You know what? I'm going to go Jerry Jeudy. Playing against the Dolphins. Got a 47.5 point over under in that game. They're going to have to put up points, keep up with that offense. Broncos kind of muck it up, though. But I think they'll be behind. Negative game script. And if someone's going to score, hopefully it's Jerry Jeudy. London, again, we kind of just talked about that. Going up against the Lions. Similar over under. Man, that really is a tough one, Richard. You got me there. So if I was looking at that, I'd probably go Jeudy, in my opinion, but I'm not confident on this one. So don't hate me. Don't unsubscribe because of this. If it turns out the wrong way, standard leagues are so hard to predict. It just the Cowboys defense, obviously they're missing Trayvon Diggs with the torn ACL, but that's not going to affect their run stopping defense. And just Arizona's not that great. It's kind of a fluke what they did against the Giants last week. Again, Jerome Ford against the Ravens. Again, another tough defense. I'd take your choice between London or Jeudy, whoever you feel is going to score a touchdown over there. If it's me personally, I'd throw Jeudy in there and hope for the best. Ron's in here saying James Conner. So we're finally disagreeing tonight. That's finally happens. Usually we're always disagreeing. But that was the first time here. And he says by so much. I don't know about so much, man, going up against this Cowboys defense. So, is what it is. Let's see. What else we got in here? Yeah, he's saying no, it's Conner. So, Richard, if you want to go with Ron, you can go Conner. I would take the chances with Jeudy. I just think that offense can potentially move the ball against them. When Atlanta gets in the red zone, London's going to have to probably score from a ways out. If they get in the red zone, it's going to be Bijan or Algier. I think just Jeudy has the best chance to score, but that's just me. Who am I? This is Ron's show. I'm just here running it for him. So, so there you go, man. Again, hopefully you guys are liked and subscribed to this one, man. We will continue on. So the next game I have here is going to be the Saints, who are 2-0 currently, visiting the Packers, who are sitting at 1-1. We have Green Bay coming in favored originally by 2. Looks like it's sitting at 1.5 now. Ooh, it's actually down to 1 now. So we have Green Bay just favored by 1 at the moment, sitting at a 42.5 point over-under. Aaron Jones, like we were talking about earlier, and Christian Watson, who are both dealing with hamstrings, are officially listed as questionable. So going back to your question up there, where was it? with Drunk Squidward asking about Aaron Jones. Just make sure you guys tune in on Sunday morning with Classic Mike to find out if he's active or inactive. But like I said before, if Aaron Jones is active, I'm starting him. Christian Watson, I'd probably want to sit him against this one, going up against Marcus Lattimore in his first game back, coming off a hamstring, might be on a pitch count of some sorts. I just kind of want to see what he'd want to do first. No need to completely rush him in. You've already gone, 2 weeks without him. You should be able to manage one more just to see, how he does. You don't want to go up, you don't want to go up against Marcus Lattimore. Name any of those other Green Bay, wide receivers. One of them's going to pop off between Dobbs, Reed, Dontavian Wicks, even scoring touchdowns. Jordan Love's been throwing 3 touchdowns a game. I think if you're in a position, maybe had Anthony Richardson go down and you drafted Jordan Love, you can fire him up this week. Should be, again, 42.5 points. It's kind of mid projection, but again, only a 1 point spread right now. So, there's going to be points scored in this one. So I would definitely fire him up if you can. We're not Luke Musgrave. Again, if you're streaming tight ends, you take a shot at him. Just play whoever you feel comfortable with there as far as tight ends go. And I think that takes care of the Packers side of the ball. As far as the Saints side of the ball, we have running back Jamal Williams dealing with that thigh issue, or not the thigh issue. What was it? A hamstring? Whatever it was. He's been ruled out. Regardless of what it was, he's ruled out. And so it looks like it's going to be Keandre Miller. Looks like he's going to be active and should get some work. I don't know if they're going to give him like an 80% workload or anything like that. So expect Tony Jones to get some work in there too. Pretty much sitting both of them this week. Again, unless you're in a situation where one of those guys are kind of your only option. But I'd like to try to steer away from that if I could. Packers have pretty decent run defense this year so far. So I'd, again, try to look elsewhere. As far as the wide receivers go, you're firing up Olave. You're firing up Michael Thomas, the way he's been playing lately. Just, again, hamper expectations, maybe with Olave going up against Jair Alexander. Might be a tough little matchup, but, we've seen him not quite the complete shutdown guy that he's been before, so there could be some opportunities there. And who knows, maybe Jair ends up covering Mike Thomas instead. He's been playing a lot on the outside. So, we'll see what happens there. So definitely a game I'll be interested in tuning into. And as far as Derek Carr goes, most likely is sit in 1 QB leagues. You're firing up in Superflex leagues. And Juwan Johnson, Taysom Hill. Again, Juwan, if you need to throw him in there, Taysom Hill, if you truly need to throw somebody in there. But I kind of have those guys for the most part as sits. Again, unless you're just streaming tight ends. And I think I covered everyone there. Oh, Rashid Shaheed. Get that guy in your lineup for sure. So I think you could have a big game, especially if they kind of try to take out Olave and maybe roll coverage to Mike Thomas. Shaheed could hit on a couple of those deep balls, and that's all it takes for him to put fantasy points on your team. So that'll wrap up Saints Packers, and we'll continue to move on. Let me check the chat here, see where we are. Looks like we got Jack in the chat here. What's up, Jack? If you're new to us here at Get Right Fantasy, man, hopefully hit that subscribe button for us. We're here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Always taking your live Q&A in the chat. Mondays, we're doing our reaction show, waiver wire targets. Wednesdays, we do our roster management, talk, buy, sell, trade targets. And tonight is our game-by-game start sit. And, of course, live Q&A with your start sit questions here on Friday nights. Anything that I can't answer here tonight because of the injury news, if we don't have enough info, Classic Mike will be here Sunday morning for you to go over those actives and inactives and get your last-minute start sits. So we have Jack here saying he needs to start 2 in PPR. He has Brees, Brian Robinson, Aaron Jones, Josh Kelley, and DeAndre Swift. So if I had to start 2 here, let me see what my rankings say on this one, because these guys are all kind of close. So Brees, I know I have kind of down there. I have Brian Robinson and DeAndre Swift back-to-back at 16-17. So I have Robinson over Swift. Who else do we got in here? Aaron Jones. I have Aaron Jones if he plays. I like him as my RB11 here. So I don't mind that at all. And Josh Kelley, I kind of have him here actually behind. But I probably need to move him up a little more here going up against this Minnesota defense who was just gashed by DeAndre Swift for 170 yards. The only thing that has a little bit of apprehension for me when it comes to Josh Kelley, and we'll get into that more when we get into that game, is just the fact that I don't think the Chargers care if they run the ball, so to speak. They have Justin Herbert, and they have all four weapons on the outside between Palmer, QJ, and of course Allen and Williams. So they'll just go throw it 60 times if they really needed to. They'll just kind of keep the offense or keep the defense, balanced by giving Josh Kelley some touches here and there. But I think the success that Kelley had was having Austin Eckler in the lineup when he's somebody they could focus on, or it could be different. But again, who's really Minnesota starting? So going back to your question here, man, that's tough because I'd probably put him right in that same Brian Robinson, DeAndre Swift range. You got Brian Robinson going up against Buffalo, and you have DeAndre Swift going up against Tampa Bay. But you have Kenny Gainwell coming back over there. So if you're kind of looking for volume, again, PPR, I don't know how much Kelley would get used in the passing game there. Brian Robinson's pretty decent, but it could be an Antonio Gibson game, Swift mixed. And that's, I can see why you're asking this question, man. Then, of course, Brees coming back. Brees is probably the only one I can kind of just write off right now. So, of course, Aaron Jones, obviously, if he's active, he's my number one, no question. From there, I'd take my chances with DeAndre Swift in that game. Could have some positive game script for him. And just the way he came off again, 178-yard game, I'd probably throw him in there. And Josh Kelley, maybe a little bit ahead of Swift, potentially because of that Vikings matchup. I can't get him any worse than third out of this group. And then again, just Brian Robinson going up against that Buffalo defense. And then Brees, I'm just kind of fading right now until he's back to a full workload. Also going up against the New England defense. So if I had to rank these guys, I'd go Aaron Jones if he plays. I think I'm going to go Josh Kelley and just roll the dice there with that matchup and volume potential. Then I'll go DeAndre Swift. Then I'll go Brian Robinson. Then I'll go Brees. So I hope that helps you out, man. Good luck to you. And hopefully hit that subscribe button here for us. And if you're already subscribed, hit that like button. And hopefully we'll see you here throughout the show. Ron says Jones and Swift. If Jones is clear, if not, Kelley and Swift. So I think that's about where I had it. So we're agreeing again. He says in another league he has Madison or Addison in PPR. Give me Addison in that one. That one's a little easier. So, and Ron and I are agreeing again. What's up with that? I don't know about that, Ron. We keep agreeing here. We have Andrew. That's a new name for me here. Again, we're getting close to 1,000 subs. So maybe if you've popped in before, I do. I know the regulars that come in here with this, but definitely a new kind of avatar name that I don't think I've seen here before. But if you have, I do apologize. But if not, make sure you hit that subscribe button for us. Get us closer to those 1,000 subs. But we got you here. He says, I have Allen and Collins starting and stuck between Pickens and Addison in the flex. Let me know what you think. To me, pretty much going Addison on that one against the Chargers. It's going to be a shootout. 54-point over-under in this game. Is it still at 54? That's what it opened up at. I always like to check here. Where are we at? Where's Vikings Chargers? Yeah, still sitting at 54 points. So there's definitely going to be some points scored. Obviously, the whole goal is to try to take out JJ, which you can't really do. But we've seen this has led to Addison, as we kind of expected, getting off to an amazing start, scoring 2 touchdowns right out of the gate. Obviously, he's not going to score 17 touchdowns. But, to me, again, in the flex spot, I take my chances with him. Pickens, I just haven't been a total fan with Pickens, obviously, but Deontay Johnson down going up against these Raiders. If it becomes a blowout, maybe they run Najee, Jalen Warren could be kind of a clock management type show there. They might not need to have to throw it, whereas the Vikings is almost kind of guaranteed. I don't want to say you never want to guarantee anything, so let me take that back. It's just I expect a lot of points to be put up in this game, and let's just hope they go towards Addison. So I'll be starting a bunch of Addison this week myself. So I'll be right there with you. If he flops, I'll be just as upset at myself as you might be in me. But for me, I'm throwing Addison in there. in this situation. So there you go, man. Good luck, and we'll see. Let's see. We got Red Solo Coat back in the house, man. What's up, LFG? How's it going? The fantasy football legend. Hopefully he's talking about me. But always great to have you here, man. He says, what jersey y'all got auctioning off this year? We're thinking about it, man. We got our 1,000 subscribers coming up here soon. Last year we gave away the signed Gabe Davis jersey. We've been looking at a couple here this year. Not quite sure which one we want to get into, but we want to make it a good one, of course, for our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. So definitely stay tuned. I'll give you a little teaser. Stay tuned on that. We have some stuff in the works. So definitely keep your eye on it, and you'll know when we announce it. We'll be mentioning it a lot. So appreciate that, and maybe give us some ideas. What kind of jerseys you guys interested in. Just throw them out there. So I'll bring it to the fellas, and we'll see what we can get together. Andrew asks, is Gus Edwards a start over Najee with Justice Hill out? Whew. See, this is one of those games. It feels like if you end up sitting Najee, he'll go off against the Raiders. And of course, me being a Niners fan here, I just think the Raiders are the worst in kind of every fashion, so to speak. I apologize for any Raiders fans out there, but I'm sure you feel the same way about me. Probably not even watching this. So as soon as you seen my Niners hat, probably just went to a different channel. So in my opinion, I mean, I like Gus Edwards more in like a standard or maybe a half, PPR if you can. But with Najee, if it is like a full PPR, I might roll him out again just to see. But I mean, Gus Edwards could literally have like a 2 touchdown game, maybe like, 14, 15 carries for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns. I can easily see that happening. Obviously, no JK, no Justice Hill. Maybe they try to work in some Melvin Gordon. There's just really nobody else there. So I can see how you'd want to do it. It's a little iffy for me. You probably obviously drafted Najee over Edwards. Kind of start your studs. You don't want to get kind of too cute. It is still early. So even if you are wrong and it does cost you this week, let's hope you're maybe 2-0 right now, maybe 1-1. So I'd roll the dice, I think, with Najee in this one. Let me see if that's what my actual rankings say, just to make sure. Yeah, so I have Gus Edwards down here as my RB31 right now. So again, I'm not that high on him. And Najee, I have up here as my RB18 against the Raiders. So yeah, I guess it wasn't as close as I thought as far as my rankings go, but I could definitely see both sides of that. But I think you roll with Najee. That's the guy you drafted. Roll him out. Again, it's only week 3. Let's see what they got. Ron's kind of, wow, it's like saying the same thing. Najee's in a good spot. If you drafted him, you have to play him here. If you don't want to play him this week, just trade him. So yeah, he just said it a lot better than I did. I took like 5 minutes to explain it. So I appreciate you for doing that, Ron. So Red Solo Cup says trade Mostert and Mike Williams for Gibbs. I might be a little much. Again, Demon's going to come back. I think this trade would be worth it if there was like Demon happened to suffer a season-ending injury. Then I could say to do this. But right now, I kind of want to hold on to that depth a little bit. Mostert's been kind of producing for you, producing more than Gibbs. So if anything, maybe just try to do Mostert and for Gibbs straight up. Again, I doubt the Gibbs owner, where they drafted him, is going to take Mostert for him straight up. So I see why you're trying to add Mike Williams in there. Me personally, I want to wait and kind of see what his role is going to be after this week. And I mean, Mostert could get hurt. Mike Williams could get hurt. So I see why you want to do this. So I'd say just depending on what you feel. I don't think it's like a bad trade or anything like that. Just really depends on your roster makeup and what else you have on the team. And, receivers will come and go, so to speak. If you want to take Gibbs, I can't say no. It's definitely interesting. But Mostert's part of a good offense. No Jeff Wilson right now. A-Chain's hard, barely trying to stay healthy himself. And again, if Mostert can kind of stay healthy, he's in a good spot. So Just kind of depends on how you feel about Mostert and how you feel about Williams and their injury history. If you feel they're gonna, if you're gonna hold up, and kind of like Ron's saying, I'd maybe want like a wide receiver 3, at least mid wide receiver 3 or so in there. Let's see. Yeah, he's just saying if it's someone like Tyler Boyd, it doesn't really make a difference. I'm kind of right there too. So to me, it just depends on what you're doing. So there we go. And Andrew says, appreciate it, man. One closer to 1K now. Good luck. Let's go, man. Appreciate that. Welcome to Get Right Fantasy, man. Hopefully we'll keep seeing you in here week to week. And really appreciate that support, man, as we continue to grow. So absolutely appreciate you for finding us. Let me know how you found us. Were you just kind of scrolling through live shows? Did it come up in your feed or something? Did you search for something? So yeah, let me know. I always like to know how our new faces pop in here. So there we go. All right, so we'll move on. Again, you guys got questions, anything you got, put them in the chat. I'll get to my next game breakdown here, and then I'll answer whatever we have going on in the chat. So just drop it in there, and I'll do my best to get it to you. So the next game I have here on the schedule is going to be the 0-2 Texans facing the 1-1 Jags. They're in Jacksonville. The line opened up at Jags favored by 9.5. Right now, it's currently sitting at Jags favored by 8, possibly due to the Zay Jones news coming out with him being ruled out this week. Went from a 44-point over-under to a 44.5-point over-under. We'll start on the Jag side of the ball on this one. Like I said, since Zay Jones has been ruled out, you're starting Trevor Lawrence, you're starting Travis Etienne, you're sitting take Migsby for now. You're definitely firing up Christian Kirk. I don't want to say I might call it the start of the week this week because Etienne could just run wild and maybe they don't really need to pass if it gets kind of in a negative game script in that fashion. If the Texans do keep it close, there could be some opportunities there, but I like Christian Kirk working in that slot, and kind of like that number 2 wide receiver. He's kind of like an extension of the run game. A lot of his ADOT was pretty low. I don't really get into ADOT advanced. I look at him. I try not to just spit stats at you guys all day. I like to make it more of like a field type show, but this is where all my opinions come from, is when I'm taking in all that data. But looked like Christian Kirk was kind of used as like an extension of the run game last week, and that's what we want to see. He was definitely a bounce back candidate that I had, and I fired him up in several leagues last week, and they get like 11 targets. So that turned out pretty well. And we got so definitely firing him up. We're obviously firing up Calvin Ridley. You guys probably saw him hit the goalpost last week. He's fine. He's active. He's ready to go. And you're firing up Evan Ingram as well. And pretty much wraps up the Jags side of the ball. As far as the Texans go, CJ Stroud, you got him as a sit, unless maybe he's in a 2 QB or super flex league. You may have to fire him up there, or maybe in Dynasty or something like that. I have him on a Dynasty league where I'm starting him this week. As far as running backs go, Pierce, if you really need to, again, running back position's kind of scarce. Beggars can't be choosers at this point. So if you need to fire him up, you can. But I'm starting bunch of guys over him, guys like Kyron Williams. I'd start Josh Kelley over him right now. Am I starting Jerome Ford over him too? I am. So I have Javonte, Brees, Jerome Ford, Zach Moss, Josh Kelley, James Conner, all ahead of Dameon Pierce here. I might even move him a little lower than that. I have him ahead of Madison, Gainwell, Tyler Ajo, Herbert. I think I'm going to move him closer to this after Kenny Gainwell here. Singletary, we're sitting right now. Nico Collins, I'm firing up. Love me some Nico, as you guys know. And Tank Dell, we'll see. I like to see him to continue to do stuff now. For now, I have him as a sit. And I'm drawing a blank on, Xavier Hutchinson. What's they got over there? I don't know why I'm trying to blank as far as their wide receivers go over Nico. As far as tight end with Dalton Schultz, I've seen him dropped in several leagues, actually. I was able to pick him up in one league. I think you got to fire him up. Again, tight end if you need to stream somebody. But there's, other guys out there you can feel a little more comfortable streaming. So pretty much wraps up that game. Should be a good one. And definitely keep my eyes on, be keeping my eyes on this game. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on all the games. I'll stop trying to say that. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Ron. See, there you go. Robert Woods. That's who I'm. Bobby Trees. How do I remember Bobby Trees? Fan favorite here at Get Right, man. So there we go. Ron saying Nico baby, absolutely. And he's even saying you can flex Tank Dell. Maybe if you have like 3 wide receiver and 2 flex spots, you can put him in at that like seconds flex. Kind of like a wide receiver 5-ish, maybe wide receiver 4. But I have several guys ahead of Tank Dell this week. But I like his arc. So, and you see, he kind of corrected himself, said low flex. So, so there you go. So that'll wrap up Texans Jags. Again, if you guys are watching or made it this far and haven't heard me say it already, if you're watching this later, I will put the chapters in there, the timestamps, so you can just switch from game to game and talk about those guys. And then in between the games, of course, taking your live start set questions here, or any questions. Ask me anything here in the chat. So there we go. We have Just Ray in the house. What's up, Just Ray? How's it going? If you're new to us here, I think I might recall this name, but if not, make sure you hit that subscribe button for us, man. We're trying to hit that 1,000 mark. So hopefully you can join us here every Fridays. We're here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Sundays as well. Mondays, Wednesdays, Sundays as well as tonight, the Friday. I did say it right. So there we go. It says, yo, should I trade Puka and Gibbs for Bijan? Oh, it's a little much, man. That's a little much. I would want a little something in return there. Like, I think you're okay with Gibbs and you're definitely okay with Puka, but I could see why you'd want to, of course, maybe with Cup coming back, if you feel that Puka is going to lose his role or just not have that value. But right now, you know, I've seen some trades, go down where people are trading Puka in a piece not as good as Gibbs to get guys like Eckler and stuff like that. So maybe I'd, try that realm because, again, Bijan is still kind of splitting with Algier right now. We, of course, hopefully expect it to flip eventually, but I just think Arthur Smith is just going to run 2 backs, and that's just is what it is. We kind of saw it with Algier and Cordell Patterson when he was healthy. So that's kind of where I'm at there. If push comes to shove, if you can't get a decent like low end wide receiver 2 with that, maybe somebody like a Lockett. Who else? Lockett might be a little too high. I'd want a little piece there for Bijan because he's not quite that bell cow, but could potentially get there. And again, maybe Gibbs just kind of has this third down type role and never truly takes over this backfield over Montgomery. We saw it last year with Swift and Jamal Williams. Just Dan Campbell wants to have those 2 backs there, which is kind of what we're seeing. I don't think it's bad if you do want to pull the trigger, if you're a Bijan fan and want to root for it and you're okay kind of not getting total fair value and you feel like you need to, upgrade that running back position and get a true kind of RB1 type in there. But again, Gibbs has that potential, and I think Puka is going to have some standalone value when Cooper Kupp gets back. And who knows, maybe he's even better if defenses are now designed to take out Cooper Kupp and maybe Puka keeps, kind of seeing those same type, and I'm sure he's not getting 15 and 10 targets, but we can see what he could do with 7. The problem with him there too is he's not really scoring touchdowns yet either, but there could be some positive touchdown regression there. I'm okay either way with that. I'd like to see what the chat says, but I mean, if you even have an opportunity to get Bijan, I might kind of pull the trigger on that. So it's not like an instant, like, oh, go do that right now kind of trade. It took me a while to get there, but I think I'd feel good pulling the trigger on that. So I'd say get it done. And I'll go with you. I have Bijan in one of my main home leagues, $100 buy-in league. So I'll be rooting for you if you do get him. So let me know what you do, man. I want to hear what the result of that was. But I think you'll have my support. Well, you do have my support, and I think you'd have the support with the folks here in the chat as well. He said, you should trade anyone for Bijan. So there you go from Ron. So I got there eventually, Ron. It's just hard, man. It's just hard. He said, just do it. He said, do it. So there we are. He says, Gibbs does not have RB1 potential. Yeah, he doesn't. And that's where kind of the difference is. but he's definitely a nice RB2. And again, Puka is, low end wide receiver 1, could be a high end wide receiver 2 even when Cup gets back. And there's no guarantee that Cup comes back and is that same guy and doesn't go out immediately again, or even there's a chance he doesn't come back in week 5. In that case, but yeah, I mean, if you got him off the wire, yeah, I'd do it. I think I'm leaning more towards do it than not. So there we go. All right. He says, thanks, bro. I'll let you know. You got me. That was a good one, man. That truly was a good one. You made me think. And just so you know, man, again, we here when I'm usually here with Classic, I'm not just going to give you a quick little answer, man. I like to really think about it. Really truly let you know what I'm going to do. So you'll see me talk it out here, unless it's just an insta buy when it's close like that. But yeah, if you can get yourself a stud, go ahead and do it. So yeah, I'm definitely leaning more that way. So Red Solo Cup says Gibbs 100% has 100%. Gibbs 100% has RB1 potential. What do you mean? So that's what I'm kind of saying. In a PPR, again, Monty misses a little more time. We see what happens this week. That tune can very well change. It only takes a week to completely flip your outlook on someone. So we'll see what happens, man. But yeah, if you can get, we've seen what Bijan can do. So I'd say go get him, man. So there you go. So Just Ray said, nah, for real, I appreciate it. You gave me the best answer out of everyone I asked. Well, thank you, man. Gives me a little big head right there, but again, I'm glad you appreciate it and the thought and time that I put into it. So there we go, man. Keep me posted. Let me know if it goes through. I'll be rooting for you. Like I said, I have Bijan, so we'll be hopefully celebrating together at the end of the year, man. All right, so we'll move on here. Again, you guys got questions? Again, ask me anything, man. Trade, start, sit. We'll take it all. It's a show by the people for the people here. So definitely love the interaction there. Other than that, we'll continue to move on. Next game that we have here is going to be the 0-2 Broncos at the 2-0 Dolphins. We had Miami opening up as 6.5-point favorites at a 48 point over under, and basically stayed the same. Still a 6.5-point over under and 6.5-point spread with Miami being favored with a 48-point over under. The thing that's telling to me on this, and let's get back to it here. So Mike McDaniel says he's optimistic about the left tackle Teron Armstead being able to play, making his season debut here. So that's going to be huge for Tua to get his left tackle back. And more importantly, we're keeping our eyes on the Waddle situation. He is still not technically, but he still is in the concussion protocol. He did practice on a limited basis today and is officially listed as questionable. So again, this is something you're going to have to tune in on Sunday morning with Classic Mike at 8 a.m. Pacific. What is that? 11 a.m. Eastern to find out if he's active or inactive come Sunday morning. At least it's an early slate game, so you'll be able to get that answer to be able to make your decisions. And of course, if he's in there, you're firing him up. So if Waddle plays, you're firing him up. You're obviously starting Tyreek Hill. You're starting Tua Tagovailoa. You could sit Durham Smythe. Maybe you can put him in there. He's kind of sneakily. I think I picked him up in one random league where I was really hurting at tight end. Actually, I think it was a Dynasty league, and I was kind of hurting in there and just kind of needed someone to throw in there. And I think that's pretty much it there on the Dolphins side of the ball. As far as the Broncos go, I'm trying to get away from Wilson kind of if I can, even though he's like the QB3 right now. We all saw that Hail Mary. And then they couldn't convert, of course, for 2 more yards to tie the game. So, again, that's why they're sitting at 0-2. Javonte Williams, you guys know, I've kind of been down on him a little bit as far as his ACL. I just feel like he can kind of get a compensation type injury any moment here, but he's definitely getting the work. We've seen Samaje Perine role basically disappear at this point. So if you are starting a Broncos running back, it's definitely going to be Javonte Williams. Definitely have Perine as a sit here. Carlos, is it Carlos Sutton? What the heck is his name? Sutton? I know it's C. Sutton. Somebody help me out. What's Sutton's first name? Either way, here we go. Somebody pop it in the chat. But either way, I'm sitting Sutton. I'm firing up Jeudy. Troutman, I guess, tight end. Not really. Nothing going on over there for me. at the moment. So basically, kind of Jeudy, and Judy's the one I feel confident starting here, and Marvin Mims Jr. I like him more in best ball, of course, but we've seen he can connect on a couple deep balls with Wilson. I believe he had like 2 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown last week, if I don't recall off the top of my head. You would think I'd have these stats prepared, but I just, we're going off the top of the head here. So I like, he could be a sneaky little flex play if you're looking for some maybe upside. Maybe you face like McCaffrey and Debo or something like that on Thursday, and you got some points to make up, and you have Mims sitting on the bench, and maybe he goes off for another 100 yards and a touchdown. So if you're really desperate situation, but I still think he's a sit at this point. And who else we got on that Broncos side of the ball? I think that's pretty much it. So those are the guys I'm starting and sitting there for the Broncos and Dolphins. So we'll wrap that up. Cortland, there we go. Thank you, Ron. Thank you. I don't know why I always want to call him Carlos. It's Cortland. Cortland's son. There we go. We got Ray Gamer in the house. What's up? How's it going, Ray? How you doing, my guy? Saying what's up to Ron in here. Let's see. Ooh, I got to back up to your first comment. Hold on, let's get there. Ooh, I'm way behind. Let me go back. Where do we got out here first? I apologize. Will Hayes came in first. What's up, Will? It says Nico Collins or George Pickens in my flex and PPR. Nico Collins for me. That one's an easy one. They're still arguing about Swift and everything over here. So Ray came in here and he said Gus Edwards versus the Colts or Zach Moss versus the Ravens in standard scoring. Justice Hill is out for the Ravens, so Gus Edwards is now taking the lead role. Might split with Melgo, who they called up, off the practice squad to the active roster. But again, not so much competition there. Again, it's non-PPR, so you don't have to worry about his lacking there. If you rewind back, I did discuss this in the Ravens breakdown. I could very well see Gus Edwards getting like 15 carries for like 50, 60 yards and 2 touchdowns here against the Colts. And, Zach Moss on the other side of the ball going up against this Ravens defense. I just think finding a touchdown there might be hard to come by. And if the Ravens get out to, a nice lead, it's going to be Minshew slinging the ball everywhere, seeing what he can do. So it may not be as much of a Zach Moss game, although Minshew did target Zach Moss out of the backfield, so maybe there could be opportunities there if they do get close. But with these two, I'll take Gus Edwards. So there we go. Ray's also asking Jags defense versus Texans or Eagles defense versus Bucks or Browns D versus the Titans. So I will take I'd probably go Jags Texans in this one. I mean, Stroud just had his first 300-yard game, which is more than Justin Fields has had so far in his career. Eagles defense is always good. Bucks have looked decent. Their line might eat up that line, though, and get some pressure on. I don't think you could sit the Eagles defense if you have an opportunity to get them. Browns D versus the Titans, I don't think that's anything, kind of crazy there. I'm probably rolling out the Eagles defense against the Bucks there. If you don't feel too comfortable with that, just again, because you don't want to just drop the Eagles defense. But yeah, classic Mike's usually the defensive guy. I just throw defense in there. I honestly, for the leagues that I have defenses in still, I'll just grab, I'm literally streaming defenses there. So if I had someone like the Eagles defense, I'd probably just be rolling with them, and I wouldn't even consider what else is out there on the wire. So I hope that helps you, Ray. So there we go. What else do we have here? Ray's coming with the questions, man. I like it. Keep the questions coming, man. Keep them coming. And again, for those of you guys who are watching, like 33% of our viewership comes from non-subscribed viewers. So if you are watching, hit that subscribe button for us, man. Really helps us out. We're trying to hit that 1K mark, man. I want to get out of these 970s and get in that 980 range, which is getting us closer. So if you're watching right now, whether it's live or on the playback, make sure you guys hit that subscribe and like button for us if you're already subscribed, because that helps us out just as much as subscribe, so new guys can keep finding us. So there we go. So Ray's saying starting Josh Kelley versus the Vikings now that Eckler's out, and then the rest of his lineup is Hurts, Olave, Metcalf, Hawkinson, and Jake Moody, who got him 12. Let's go. The rookie kicker doing things perfect on the year so far after a rocky preseason. So nice to see him doing well over there. Like the lineup. Hawkinson obviously had a big week last week. Hopefully DK's okay here. Looks like he'll play. We'll get into that here soon when we get to that game. You got Olave on there. A little worried about him potentially. Who is he going up against? I think Jair Alexander that we were talking about earlier. Is that who he's facing? Yeah, against the Packers. So maybe not expect the greatest game out of him. But yeah, Josh Kelley's a nice start against this Vikings defense again, who was taken advantage of by DeAndre Swift by the tune of 178 yards last week. Could have had 3 touchdowns, but I think only had like 1. So either way. Let's see what else we got in here. You guys still arguing about DeAndre Swift. I love it. Keep it going. Ray's saying he has 3 trades pending for others to look at, so hopefully one of them could get accepted. It's possible that 2 can. So we'll root for you there. If you want to let us know what they are, let us know. Who else we got here in the chat? Chap is popping off. I love it. Looks like we got a new user in here, man. We got AT in the house. How's it going, man? Welcome to Get Right Fantasy. I don't think I've seen you here before. If you're new to us here, depending on, I guess, how I answer this question, maybe you'll throw us a subscribe. We're trying to hit that 1K mark, but we'll get to your question here. He says Lamar and Connor for Puka and Dylan. I'm definitely keeping Lamar and Connor in that situation. I mean, unless like Lamar is like somehow your QB2 and you have like Josh Allen and Lamar, like Mahomes and Lamar, you kind of went like a little bully QB. And, because I'd rather have Connor over Dylan, unfortunately. Shout out to AJ Dillon, our boy from our intro. If you guys didn't check it out, make sure you guys go back and check out the intro. So we're definitely Dillon fans over here. But I'd still think I'd take Connor instead just because, Aaron Jones split backfield over there. If you're dying for wide receiver, if you're trading Lamar, you can definitely get someone, I think, with a little more solidified talent, role, and just situation team than Puka. But Puka's definitely the hot item right now. But I'm not trading Lamar Jackson in this one, unfortunately. So I'd hold him. Again, let me know what your other QB situation is like. Like if you have like Lamar and Tua, I'd still want to hold on. I think you just do. I think you could do better. You could get Puka and someone better for Lamar and Connor. So that's just my opinion. So there we go. What else we got here? You guys are still going off in the chat. I love it, man. Keep it going. If I missed something, just type it again. Otherwise, we'll continue to move on here. So let's see. Next game on the schedule is this game we've been talking about a lot here. The 0-2 Chargers, somehow 0-2 with that squad, facing going to Minnesota to face the Vikings, who are also 0-2. So kind of surprises for both of these teams. Like we mentioned earlier, they're sitting at a 54 point over-under. It opened at a dead tie at 0. Looks like Minnesota now. They were at 1. Let me see what it's at right now. Yep. So it looks like Minnesota's just favored by 1 right now as the home team. So we know that means they expect the Chargers to come in and make it a close game. Should be high scoring. Fireworks in this one. Definitely going to be having our eyes on it. What can I say? You're basically firing pretty much everyone up in this game, except for like Quentin Johnson and Josh Palmer on the Chargers side. Again, most situations you're probably having to start Josh Kelley. If you are the Eckler owner, you're starting Keenan Allen, you're starting Mike Williams, you're starting Justin Herbert. If you're in one of those streaming situations and you need to throw Everett in there, you can start him. On the Viking side of the ball, we're firing up Addison. I like him this week. We're firing up, of course, JJ. I mean, that's just a no-brainer. Kirk Cousins sitting at, I think, the QB1 overall right now after the big week last week, throwing for 4 touchdowns. So you're starting him until further notice. And this is, I mean, if anything, this is probably the bonanza. There should be a lot of points scored in this one. So if you can get a piece of this game, you definitely want to get some players in there. So we have, again, Austin Eckler ruled out. And then Kevin O'Connell said it's a little too soon for Cam Akers to play this week. Obviously, he was traded from the Rams to the Vikings earlier this week. They said he'll likely be inactive, so just kind of keep an eye on it. They said they're kind of have their eye on him playing next week against Carolina. So we'll see what happens there. As far as the Alexander Madison side of it, Kevin O'Connell said he told Alex nothing changes for him. He said there's 1,000 things we can all do better, but as far as Madison goes, he's our lead back. Is it coach speak? Is it not coach speak? Obviously he needs him for this week. Cam's not playing, so he's not going to tell him, oh yeah, Cam, when he gets here, he's going to take everything because he'll lose Madison for that. So again, you got to take all that with a grain of salt. Although for the Madison owners out there, it is good to hear that he's the lead back, and we'll see, what Cam can contribute here after obviously losing his job to Kyron Williams in LA. So we'll kind of see how it goes. We just know, with Ty Chandler and McBride, we were kind of talking about it in the offseason. I didn't think they'd even make it to, week 2 without adding somebody to this backfield. We thought it might have been like a Fournette or a Kareem Hunt or somebody like that, when Zeke was still out there. But it looks like they end up trading for Cam. And again, he'll most likely be active next week. So we'll be able to see how it kind of plays out over these next couple of weeks. So again, other than that, pretty much start anybody you can in that game if you're in that situation. All right. So we will move on here. Let me just double check the chat since I'm here by myself. Let's see. Oh, we got Brooks in the house. What's up, Brooks? How's it going? Mr. Seven Rings in the house. He says, I got wrecked by injuries. Who hasn't right now? Right. He's asking flex Khalil Herbert or Jaylen Warren in half PPR. So I think you have to stick with Khalil Herbert right now. What's the matchup looking like? Bears, Chiefs. Could have some negative game script if the Chiefs just kind of come out and put it on the Bears. It might be kind of a Roschon Johnson game, so that'd be the one thing I'm kind of afraid of. As far as Raiders Steelers go with Jaylen Warren, it depends. I would say this: if Najee comes out and he doesn't look great against the Raiders, based on how much kind of usage he's been seeing, so far over these last 2 games, especially the last game, or for some reason if the Raiders come out and jump on him, I could easily see, Warren getting some usage there. Again, it is in your flex, so I don't think you can kind of go wrong with either guy. You have a 43-point over-under in this Raiders Steelers game and a 47.5-point over-under in the Bears Chiefs. The only problem with that is you got KC favored by 12.5, or actually it's at 48 points right now. So they're just expecting the Chiefs to score the majority of those 48 points. So I don't think you can really go wrong either way. I guess when I'm this close, let's see what my rankings say. So I have Khalil Herbert here as my RB30, and I have Warren as my RB35. So it's honestly super close. They're kind of both in that RB3, flex range. So just, I don't think you can go wrong kind of either way. You're hoping, of course, one of them scores a touchdown. Again, like I said, the only thing I'm afraid of is Herbert having that negative game script in that game to, give Roschon a little more love. And in the Pittsburgh Raiders game, again, if the Raiders do jump out on him, that's your best bet for Warren or just Najee completely looking awful to get Warren in there. So I think at this point I'm still going with Khalil Herbert, and I have a lot of Khalil Herbert, full disclosure. So I have Warren too, though. So I feel you. Half PPR, probably go Herbert. So there we go. All right, Brooks. Appreciate you, man. You got anything else? Drop it in the chat. Of course, Ron disagrees with me. He says Warren for sure. He could break out this week. That's kind of what I was saying. So there we go. We got AT asking another question. He said his team is strong, or maybe it's not a question. I didn't read it yet, but he says the team is strong. In 12-man, he has Burrow, James Cook, Kyron Hill, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, Puka. got Olave on his bench, but he's concerned about Burrow's health. So he was offered Lamar and Connor for Puka and Dylan. Oh, if you're being offered that, then yeah, get Lamar for sure. Get Lamar for sure. Yeah, D. Smith. Goddard. Who's your other? Oh, not Kyron Hill. So he has Tyreek Hill and Devonta Smith with Olave on the bench. So yeah, you don't need Puka. Yeah, move Puka and Dylan for Lamar and Connor. Absolutely. Smash that accept. Thanks for clarifying that. Go smash accept on that one. So there you go. Someone dropped Damian Pierce in Ray's league. He put a claim in for him. So you hope he gets him tomorrow morning. Hopefully, man. I mean, the way running backs are going, I wouldn't be really dropping anybody right now. And if you do have empty roster spots, make sure you guys go pick up some of those handcuff running backs. We saw what happened to Chubb last week. Again, we don't wish that on anybody. But if I had a couple open roster spots, I wish I would have grabbed Ford. So I went and grabbed like Dowdle this week. I went and grabbed a couple other folks. I think Charbonnet in another league, he was dropped. I went and grabbed Ting Bigsby in another league because he was out there still. Again, just in case any of these guys get hurt, you want to kind of beat the waiver wire so not wasting all your fab when these guys become that number one waiver ad. So there you go. Oh, and he's dropping AJ Dillon for him. So there we go. All right. So again, you guys got more questions or anything? Drop them in the chat. If I skipped it or missed it, I apologize. Just write it again, and we'll get to it. Brooke says, Ross, I have Saquon, Ayuk, Christian Watson, Waddle on the same team. So, dang, that's brutal, man. Everybody's hurt. Waddle's like your most active player right now. That's brutal, bro. That's brutal. It happens sometimes, man. Sometimes it's just it's like Russian roulette, man. Just every time I get a notification of an injury, I just hope it's not someone I'm heavily invested in on one of my 16 teams. So, and that's the hardest thing too, because someone goes down, now you're trying to figure things out. I went from 10 to 16 leagues, and it was just, I think I went from like 2 to 16 leagues in 3 years, played like 2 main home leagues for like 15 years, kind of dabbled in some stuff here and there, but nothing just solid and consistent. Ever since we started the show 3 years ago, I've added, got invited to, got my listener leagues, we got a bunch of stuff going on. So yeah, it's up to 16 now. A lot of them are all different, between Dynasty, Redraft. I got an auction league in there this year. Last year I was in a guillotine league. So just, a bunch of stuff going on. So I recommend definitely dabbling in some other stuff, but it is a little difficult to manage when you're doing waivers or you got a guy that's injured and you got to go through each team to figure out, where you're at. But it is a lot of fun, man, because I eat, live, drink, sleep, this stuff. So it's a lot of fun. All right. So let's see. Thoughts on Spears upside. If Henry goes down, just like, a lot of these other handcuffs, man, he's going to be there. I like the way he's, been flashing. Could be used almost as like a flex right now anyway. Might get a little extra work with Henry a little banged up here with this toe. Just hard for me to believe that a little toe injury is going to stop Henry. I mean, the dude like fractured his foot and still played the rest of the game before he left. And I'm sure they had to like tell him he needs to get off the field. So I don't really care so much about that little toe injury for him. If they're saying he's active, I'm firing him up. But I could see how they'll, take a little bit off it. And I do even like Henry's usage in the passing game this year. I think he's been doing well. But Spears, has looked explosive. It's definitely a different gear than what you get from Henry, just based on that size. And again, he's used a lot in those passing downs, like those third downs. But I like, again, how they're designing Henry on first and second down to get some of those passes as well, just to not get too one-dimensional or tip their hand based on which running back they have in. So I think that's smart on their part, but Spears is absolutely somebody that should not be out there. He should be on a roster, preferably yours. So there you go. Hey, Fantasy Network, just want to let you know, I also have Christian Kirk in my flex versus the Texans with Zay Jones out. Love that. Love that. So there we go. All right, so we'll move on, man. We're almost hitting this 2-hour mark. I thought it might have been a slower show, or a faster show, so to speak, without Classic Mike here with just myself. But I guess I like to just hear myself talk. But I appreciate you guys what you're contributing in the chat. Again, keep those questions coming, and I'll be here to answer it for you guys. So we'll keep it rolling. Let's see what's the next game that we have here. You guys might have to help me out. Got me scrolling everywhere. Okay, so we just did Chargers Vikings. So next game is going to be the 0-2 Patriots at the 1-1 Jets. You had New England coming out originally favored by 3 with 37-point over/under. Currently sitting at New England favored by 2.5 at a 36.5-point over/under. So they're expecting a typical Patriots Jets game. I'm sure you guys remember the one last year that was won on a punt return at the end, because I don't know what they were doing when they're throwing the ball laterally around. Anyway, it was pretty cool though. Patriots Jets. This might be one. I know I said, I'm going to be watching all these games. Probably a game I'm not going to pay attention to too much on this one. You have the Patriots coming in. Mac Jones, sitting as the top 5 QB right now. I'm not dying to start him at all. Obviously, staying away from Zach Wilson. As far as Garrett Wilson goes, you're kind of almost forced to start him at this point if you haven't traded him. You're just hoping, he can find the end zone. He's found it the last 2 weeks to kind of save your day. So hopefully you've been able to capitalize on that. Otherwise, I just don't like he just doesn't have the ceiling that he had, of course, with Rodgers. Not starting any other wide receiver there on the Jets side of the ball. Breece Hall, I'd like to sit if you can. Again, running back's a little thin. So I understand if you did draft him, if you might have to get him in your lineup. But if you have the other options like Kyron Williams, Jerome Ford, a couple of these waiver guys, Josh Kelley, playing all those guys over Breece this week. We're not starting Tyler Conklin unless you just kind of need to stream somebody there. Patriots are usually pretty good against the tight end, so most likely not considering that. So, really the only person I kind of even feel somewhat comfortable with, and it's not very comfortable, would be Garrett Wilson on the Jets side of the ball. As far as the Patriots go, you're firing up Ramondre Stevenson. It's a tough matchup against this Jets front, but you're most likely going to have to start him. Maybe they use him more in the kind of passing game. Maybe they'll run Zeke between the tackles and get some targets on Mondre. So we'll see how that goes. Again, talked about Mac Jones kind of out of order already. But, you're most likely sitting him in your 1 QB leagues. Probably have to fire him up in your 2 QB leagues, depending on how you drafted your Superflex team or your 2 QB team. And Juju Smith-Schuster, I'd like to stay away from him if I can. Devontae Parker, came back last week, was able to take all the targets, basically took Thornton and Keyshawn Boutte off the field, or I think Thornton's actually still hurt. So not really looking to, very excited to get into these other Patriots guys in my lineup. Again, only a 36.5-point over/under, so not many points are expected. I look for other matchups, other games if you can. Again, really the only 2 guys in this game that I feel are start worthy are Mondre and Garrett Wilson. So there we go. We got Red Solo Cup saying Hall's RB1. When he's healthy, man. When he's not coming off an ACL, he definitely is. I'm just not quite there yet. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Let's see. If I miss anything in the chat, man, make sure you guys let me know. Where were we at? We got Blast. What's up, Diesel? Blast Man up in here. Blast Man 420. He says, your thoughts on Kamara and Jonathan Taylor when they come back? Would you pursue either in a trade? I almost sent you an offer for Kamara because I'm hurting, and one of the leagues where you have Kamara, I just didn't think you'd get off him being a New Orleans Saints fan. So I didn't want to come in there and try to see if I can swindle you, as you always tell me I try to do. But I definitely like him, man. I like Harm almost a little more than Taylor. People probably think I'm crazy than that. I've just never been a big Taylor fan. Like, even when he was RB1, he was only RB1 kind of by default because everybody else kind of got hurt ahead of him. And, that was the year Christian McCaffrey went down, Eckler went down, everybody went down that year. And he was RB1, had one of the lowest RB1 finishes as far as points per game, total points in years. So just, again, this offense, we've seen what Anthony Richardson's doing when he's at the helm. He may be back by the time JT comes back. And again, there's no certainty that JT will come back. The only saving grace is maybe once he's back and healthy and he can pass a physical, they'll keep exploring the trade options. So if you maybe want to take an opportunity to buy him now, just to have like a good running back, like I still think he's like, top 15, running back, top 10, as far as just, talent and kind of stuff goes. But situation, things like that are just kind of, up in the air. But obviously startable if people are starting Zach Moss. So he'll be startable if he does become the RB1 there. And obviously he's going to be playing his butt off to try to get himself traded and get paid. So I understand that side of it. So I don't hate pursuing these guys. And they should produce. And once they are active, you should be able to package them and get to, somebody else. Maybe you can put, I just like Kamara more than Taylor. I'll just leave it at that. You and I can talk more off air on that one, but those are just my overall feelings there. So appreciate you joining the stream, man. Love it when you come out in the stream. Normally you just text me directly. So like it when you come out, man. So appreciate the support, brother. So we have Will Hayes. What's up, Will, again? Saying Sam Laporta or Hunter Henry. That's a tough one. That's who I forgot when we did the Patriots Jets. Will said. Hunter Henry, again, I think you kind of start him. Again, this front's a little tough. Good linebackers. I still like Sam Laporta. I think he finds the end zone for the first time this week. Obviously, Hunter Henry's scored the last 2 weeks in a row. So I'm kind of just playing the percentages there, playing a little roulette. And I think Laporta, just based on pure statistics and gut feeling, has a chance to score his first touchdown over Hunter Henry scoring his third consecutive touchdown. But doesn't mean, Henry can't keep doing that, because, again, the wide receiver options are a little lacking over there with just kind of Juju and Devontae Parker kind of still get himself back up to in-game shape. Again, it's a biased call on this one, but I'm going Sam Laporta. So there we go. I trust Jared Goff a little more than Mac Jones, but Mac Jones and Henry have shown that connection, so it's pretty tough. Pretty tough call there. Let's see. They're just talking about trading guys in there, and they're talking about their team. Derrick Henry, Don says. You guys are all talking to yourself in there. I'm just trying to see if you guys have anything for me in there. But keep it going. Love it when I see all this stuff going on in the chat, man. That's great. Love the back and forth banter, as long as you guys are being good in there, which it looks like. So that's cool. Ray says, since you're a Niners fan, I just wanted to tell you something. I own CMC in 2 of my leagues, but in one of his teams, his team name is C-Mac and Cheese. So there you go, man. Got to get some C-Mac in there. I have C-Mac in one of my main Dynasty leagues. I was able to trade for him this offseason. So I was very happy about that. And yeah, go CMC, man. The bona fide RB1. CMC is basically, with the way the landscape of the running back position is, CMC's value right now is basically comparable to Travis Kelce. Like, the gap between him with Eckler being out right now, the gap between him and like Bijan, I guess, would be like the RB2 at the moment if we were all redrafting again today, with Chubb gone, with Eckler out, with all these guys out, Barkley, there's just so much of a gap. So if you have CMC in your lineup, you have that positional advantage big time. So I love it, man. Go get CMC if you can, but I don't think whoever has him is getting rid of him. So good luck. All right. So we'll move on. Again, you guys got questions and stuff, drop them in the chat. Otherwise, the show will continue on. So the next game I have here is Bills, who are sitting at 1-1, at the Commanders, who are sitting at 2-0. Who would have thunk it? You have Buffalo opened up as 6.5 point favorites with a 44.5 point over/under, and currently sitting at Bills favored by 6, so went down a little bit there, and also went down a little bit here at a 43 point over/under. So as far as the Bills go here, Curtis Samuel is kind of dealing with an illness, so he's listed as questionable for the game. Logan Thomas, I'm sure we all saw him take that brutal hit in the end zone. He's been dealing with a concussion and has been ruled out at this point. So could mean a great great day as far as targets go for Jahan Dotson and Scary Terry. We'll see what Sam Howell's able to do against this Bills defense. We also obviously saw Zach Wilson pull out the one there on opening night. So we'll see what the 2-0 Commanders can come in here and do. As far as the Bills side of the ball, you're starting all the usual suspects. You're starting obviously Josh Allen. You're starting James Cook. I really like him. Tough Commanders defense, but I'm still firing him up. I'm sitting Damian Harris at the moment, and I don't know why Latavius Murray keeps getting a bunch of carries. I wish they'd just stop and just split it between Cook and Damian. But hey, is what it is. We'll see what happens. As far as the wide receivers go, I feel comfortable firing up obviously Diggs, and I feel comfortable firing up Gabe Davis. So we'll get them going there. Dalton Kincaid. If you have a better option at tight end, yeah, you can go ahead and throw him in there. You have Dawson Knox, who's been dealing with that back injury, I believe it was, kind of limited in the beginning. Looks like he got into full practice today, and looks like he was leaning towards being active on Sunday. So, I'd like to see just the tight end targets kind of condensed. I believe Knox had 6 targets last game, and I believe Kincaid had 5. So he's getting decent targets, but the touchdown went to Knox, not Kincaid. So we're still waiting to get Kincaid in the end zone. So he's doing decent. I have him starting a couple leagues. I know Frank's real big on Kincaid. He drafted him a lot, and again, it's only week 2, so we're seeing how this all plays out. But if Knox is limited, not showing any efficiency, able to get open, could be a little not breakout, but he could just have a big game if he sees more of Knox's targets because Knox not out there, or maybe he re-aggravates the back. Those things are a little tricky. As far as the Washington side of the ball, Sam Howell, you're sitting him. Maybe if you're in a super flex league, you can throw him out there to QB. As far as the running backs go, you have Brian Robinson, my boy over there. If you need to get him in your lineup, again, you keep hearing me say it, given the landscape of the running back position, you might find yourself having to start him. I have a feeling it could be an Antonio Gibson game here if it gets to kind of be a negative game script. I didn't like how Brian Robinson only had 5 carries in the first half. Wasn't until that game script kind of turned around last week when there had an opportunity for him to rack up those carries and get the touchdowns in there and finishing as the RB1 for the week. So, is what it is, but we could turn around and see the complete opposite of that with Antonio Gibson this week. So we'll see how that plays out. As far as your wide receivers, I talked about it already with Scary Terry and Jahan Dotson, with potentially no Curtis Samuel there. But again, it's just an illness. Maybe they got him some fluids, things like that. And, there's still a couple days to go before we get to Sunday. So there's still a chance, Samuel could be, still active. And, he's going to take some of that target share away. I'm not starting him, but I feel comfortable starting Jahan and Scary. Just temper expectations going up against this Buffalo secondary. So that'll wrap up Bills Commanders. So now we will get into the 1:00 games or 4:00 or 1:00 games for me. I believe it's 4:00 for you East Coast folks. So I don't know how you guys have to wait all day to watch football on Sunday, man. That would kill me. I don't know if I could be out there just for that. Anyway, do we have anybody here in the chat? Let's see. Where do we leave off here before I get going on this next game? We got Super C&B Challengers in here. What's up, man? Welcome back. He says, just got offered Higgins and Ken Walker for CD and full PPR. What do you think? I'm keeping Higgins and Ken Walker on that one. I mean, it's tough. Obviously, we'll get into the Burrow game here in a little bit to see what's going on there. I just think for rest of the season, I'd rather have Higgins and Ken Walker. If you're sitting at 0-2 and, totally hurting, then possibly. But the fact that you can get a running back without having to get one, without having to give one up, I would take that. So yeah, so you're giving up CD to get Higgins and Ken Walker. Either way, I'm taking the Higgins and Ken Walker side, in my opinion. So There we go. Ron disagrees. He said, no. Keep CD. Again, I'd want the running back, more importantly. And, when Burrow's healthy, maybe you got Puka or somebody that you could throw in there until Burrow's back to where he's at. So we'll see. You guys are still going at it here. All right, so he says, yeah, all right, I appreciate it. So there you go. That's where I'm at. Again, Ron disagrees, but I don't think it's too far. We're drafting CD about the 1-2 turn-ish right there, maybe mid-second, and Higgins was going like at the end of the second, maybe early third, depending on your draft. So again, I know we're getting farther away to saying where we drafted people, but just to kind of, I don't think there's too much of a gap between Higgins and CD at their peak, so to speak. So anybody who puts up a 0 is a little scary. So I could see why they're trying to move off him, but yeah, and like you said, it's not bad either way. So, but I'd rather take the running back. Like that's the difference for me is I'll take the running back. Again, given the state of running backs, that's a more valuable piece than a wide receiver. So there we go. All right. So let's get to these. Keep them coming. You guys got questions. I got answers, or at least opinions. You got questions. I got opinions. Help you get to your answer, your decision. I don't get the credit for it. I'm just helping talk you through it. Just like I say, I'm not going to take the credit for your losses, and I'm not taking the credits for your wins. You guys are the ones actually submitting the lineups every week. We're just here. This is a place that we created to talk it all out. We're all here together to kind of just, again, have all the information to make our best decision heading into Sunday with the information that we do have. So there we go. So we got, I think, only 5 more games here. I'll try to get through them here as quickly as I can, or 6 games. And we're already almost at the 2-hour mark. So I'll try to hurry this up for you guys, but appreciate all you that have been sticking it out, especially Ron, who got here even before me, sticking it out here through the long Friday show. So I'm going to take a drink real quick for you guys. Hold on. Got to get the vocal cords lubed up a little bit there. All right. Get ready for these 1 o'clock games. All right, so let's do it. We got the 0-2 Panthers at the 1-1 Seahawks. Seahawks opened up at 5.5 point favorites with a 42.5 point over/under. Right now, sitting at 42 point over/under, but still Seahawks favored by 5.5. As far as injury news in this one, we have Bryce Young dealing with a ankle sprain. Looks like he's going to be out about 1 to 2 weeks. Per the doctors, and he clarified that when Bryce Young comes back, he's definitely the starter. So there's no quarterback controversy over there. It's going to be Bryce no matter what Andy Dalton does this week. So speaking of which, Andy Dalton will get the start. I consider that kind of a little bit of an upgrade for Thielen and Mingo. Maybe Mingo has a little kind of coming out party here. So I have him kind of as that flex. Thielen's coming off, I think, a 20-point game in PPR last week. But again, a totally different quarterback, so we'll see what happens here. But, I feel comfortable throwing Thielen in the flex. Still not quite ready to start Mingo yet. I want to see, a little bit of a breakout first before I can get him in there. Not starting Andy Dalton unless you're in a dire situation in a 2 QB or super flex league. I'm firing up Miles Sanders. I think you got to get him in this one. And as far as tight end goes, who is the freaking tight end on? Somebody help me out. Who's the tight end on the Panthers right now? I don't know why I'm thinking like, who's the tight end over there right now? All right, we'll come back to that. We'll figure that out. You guys let me know who the tight end is with the Panthers. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank there. Probably because I just took a drink, so we'll see. But on the Seahawks side of the ball, starting with the quarterback there, Geno Smith, you're most likely firing him up, depending on your roster construction. Probably most likely your QB1, so you're throwing him in there. Definitely super flex. You're firing up Ken Walker. You've heard me talk a lot about him here. Sitting Zach Charbonnet at the moment. We'll see what happens with him as the year continues to go on. But Ken Walker is pretty much getting that backfilled right now. DJ Dallas, I think, was dealing with a illness So maybe Sharp sees kind of more of a, third down role if DJ is not fully active. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. But as of now, I have him as a sit. As far as your wide receivers go, DK, Tyler Lockett are definite starts. Jason maybe could be a flex if you really need to. Kind of really hasn't busted out quite yet. But we know the talent's there. It could click any week. So if you maybe need an upshot play, you can find a way to get him in your lineup. I would just have to think there's other options you can go to right now until we see him, start to truly break out. It just takes time for these rookies, man. Guys aren't coming out of the gates like JJ and Addison kind of is with 2 touchdowns right away, but everyone's not JJ and Jamar Chase, so their rookie year. So it takes time. OBJ took time. These guys take time to hit that breakout. Christian Watson breaking out second half of the year. Amon-Ra St. Brown breaking out second half of the year. So just stay patient. Definitely keep them on your roster, but keep them out of your lineup, I think, this week, unless you really need to throw them in there. Tight end position, we're not starting to tie the Seahawks tight end here. You got Noah Fant. He probably score a touchdown because I said that now, but, not someone you feel comfortable kind of even streaming at this point. And I think that takes care of that. So, there we go. Hayden Hurst. That's why. There we go. Hayden Hurst, I'll fire him up. I got Hayden Hurst on several of my best ball teams. And I have Hayden Hurst as a start this week. I don't know exactly where I have him ranked, but I feel confident starting him. So fire him up. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it. And I did say lubing up my throat. So maybe I could use some better words. I've been going for 2 hours now. So, hey, don't hold me to it. All right, bro. Let's see. What else we got? Ray saying, okay, I'll post the trades I sent next. I really thought hard about this with all the teams in my league, and I guess we'll see what you think. So he said, this is still the standard scoring league, and there's only trades happen between wide receivers and running backs here. Did I miss something previous to that? Or maybe he's still coming with the full question. So I'll keep my eye out for it. Until then, I'll continue to move on here. We have the next game on the slate is going to be the 2-0 Dallas Cowboys facing the 0-2 Arizona Cardinals. You have Dallas coming in, originally favored by 12. Looks like it's sitting at 12.5 now. Yep, 12.5. Opened up at a 43.5 point over-under. Went down now to 43. Obviously, the big news here for the Cowboys and sad news, Trevon Diggs is out for the season with his torn ACL. He suffered a non-contact injury in practice this week. I'm sure you guys are all aware now. You just hate to see, good players. I usually don't try to say anything great about the Cowboys, but, game recognizes game, I guess you would say. Trevon Diggs, definitely good for the sport. Sucks to just see people go down with these season-ending injuries, especially non-contact, and especially when it happens in practice. Didn't even do it, playing the actual game. So that's tough, but obviously a risk that everyone takes when they step on the field. You just hope, for a speedy recovery for him and he gets back. Because I don't want any excuses when we end Dallas this season this year. They're just going to say, well, if we had Diggs, I don't want any excuses. We both want us, full strength. Same thing with your Eagles, Ron. I both want us full strength if we meet again and see what truly happens. Because, I'm sure you guys were happy to, win the game and go on to the Super Bowl and everything. But to me, as a football fan, regardless if a Niners, Eagles fan, it just sucks seeing, Purdy go down like that. And again, sucks seeing someone like Trevon Diggs go down. They still have Gilmore there, though, so they still have a little bit of a shutdown corner. They still have Parsons. So, I don't want to say it's not going to affect them big time, but, he's definitely going to be missed. So I'll say that. As far as guys we're starting and sitting here in this game, we'll start with the Cardinals. We're basically sitting everybody for the most part, in my opinion, except for James Conner, if you really need to. Again, just based on I think I've said it every game preview here, based on the landscape of the running back position. Ron, you're going to have to start quoting me with that in the quote. Probably have a drinking game when we do the off season, when I say like, running back dead zone or something, everybody takes a shot, or however those drinking games work with you kids. Definitely, that's one of the ones. Get right bingo or something like that with the landscape of the running back position at this point. So let's see. So James Conner is the only one I kind of feel, I don't even want to say confident starting, but he's one that I feel like, you're probably going to find in lineups this week. Hollywood Brown, Rondale Moore. I'm trying to put on the bench if I can at this time. I don't have to worry about it because I didn't draft any of them. So I don't personally have to worry about it. But for those of you guys who did take that gamble, not a week against this defense that you want to find those guys in your lineup. As far as the Cowboys go, you're firing up CD, of course. You're firing up Dak. You're firing up Jake Ferguson, man. Like him over there. Maybe actually going back to the Cardinals, you could fire up Ertz. We've seen him kind of get picked up off the wire. Has been getting some red zone targets. They just haven't really connected, and is just getting targets overall. Again, with those younger kind of quarterbacks, they do tend to favor that position. But on the other side of the ball here, I'd like to see Jake Ferguson get in there. Cardinals are notoriously been awful against tight ends. So I'd like to see if I can get a piece of that if you're looking to stream somebody, or if you happen to have them. Sunday is one of those days to get Fergie in the lineup. So other than that, we're sitting Brandon Cooks at this point. I got to see more. And we're sitting Gallup. So not too much else to think about on that one. So I will move on. We're getting closer here to the end. Bears that are 0-2 against the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 1-1. Talked about it earlier. Kansas City is being favored by 12.5. Opened up as a 47.5 point over/under. Currently sitting at a 48 point over/under. So good amount of points. And like I said, most of them look like they're going to be towards the Chiefs side of the ball on this one. As far as the Bears go, Justin Fields, you kind of got to fire him up at this point. You're firing up DJ Moore against the Chiefs, and hopefully, they can just put some stuff together. Darnell Mooney looks like he's off the injury report, so he should be back out there. Maybe that helps, get this offense going. We obviously, I'm sure you guys heard the reports of Justin Fields kind of calling out his coaches, and then kind of backtracking and saying, I just need to play better. And so we'll see what happens there. I'm not giving up on any of these guys yet. I'm not giving up on DJ Moore and Justin Fields quite yet. As far as the running backs go, that's where it's a little more bit of a question. We were kind of talking about it earlier between Herbert, Roschon Johnson. Dante Foreman is a sit for me right now. But I do like the potential flex appeal here with Roschon Johnson. If the game script does go negative and they are find themselves in the passing situations, although Khalil Herbert can, of course, catch the ball out of the backfield, looks like that's more suited for a Roschon type game. So again, because of the landscape of the running back position, put it on your bingo card. You're probably going to have to start Mooney, or I have Mooney written on my sheet here for the notes. I don't want to keep saying Mooney. I've already said its name too many times. Khalil Herbert, if you have to start him, like I do in several leagues, you're going to throw him out there. But again, I'd like to find a way to get Roschon. If you don't have Khalil Herbert in the lineup for this game, I think he has a chance to really have a good game here if there is that negative game script. As far as the Chiefs side of the ball, you're firing up the usual suspects. As far as Mahomes and Travis Kelce, oh yeah, Cole Kmet on the other side. Again, tight end. I have no problem streaming Kmet based on where you draft them. Again, Chiefs, Mahomes, and Kelce, you're firing them up. I have them as starts. Wide receiver gets a little bit of a question mark. You have Kadarius Toney. I don't know why I went back to that again. Kadarius Toney dealing with his hamstring. Was kind of limited in practice this week. Looks like he was back on the field today practicing, so it looks like he's making progress and kind of leaning towards playing on Sunday. Isaiah Pacheco, who's been limited this week with a hamstring as well, is being listed as questionable. So that brings in, some of the running back, situation. Could be a CEH game there. Maybe it's a Jerick McKinnon game. That's where it's a tough call because we don't, if the Bears don't put up a bunch of points, maybe they don't need Jerick McKinnon and they don't really usually run him through the tackles. So I could see how they'd utilize CEH, who technically took the first snap week 1. So if, CH is out there and you're really hurting right now, and you're like me, having David Montgomery and Samaje Perine as my starting 2 running backs in one league because I had JK and somebody else go down, or David Montgomery go down. So that's why I literally have like Perine to start. I might have to, roll the dice with CH this week and see where that takes me. So if you guys want to try that, you can. Again, I try to go look elsewhere, but some of us, again, beggars can't be choosers. So might have to fire up some CH this week and hope Kansas City gets out to a big league and they just run the ball with CH. So for that team, that's what I'd be hoping for. Otherwise, if Pacheco ends up going, you could fire him up. But again, it could get re-aggravated anytime. So again, if you could stay away, I try to. So that pretty much wraps up Bears Chiefs there. We'll see what we have here in the chat. Make sure I didn't miss anything before we go on to the next game. We have a new guy in here. What's up, man? He says ASDAFG hop as the. I don't know if I should say that all the way out loud. I don't know what it might say if you're trying to trick me there, man. But either way, welcome to Get Right. Hopefully you hit that subscribe button for us. But we'll get to your question here. It says, who should I start? We get to pick 3. Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper. I assume that's Brandon Cooks since we're talking wide receivers here and not James Cooks. And then Terry McLaurin and Jacoby Meyers. So Adams is for sure. Looks like he's been practicing in full, even though he's technically in the concussion protocol. It's going to be a game time decision, but he looks like he's leaning on the positive side of active. I'll fire him up. I do like Amari Cooper, so I'm probably firing him up. You get Cooper against the Titans, so I don't mind that at all. And really tough for this last one because I do like McLaurin and his situation right now. Ooh. And Jacoby going against these Steelers could have a good game too, but you already have Adams, so I wouldn't want to start both of them there. So I'm probably going to lean Godwin. So I think I'm going to go Adams, Godwin, and Amari. The order that you have it is the order that I would start them. So those would be my 3. And if you want to swap one of those out, possibly for McLaurin, then Jacoby Meyers, then Cooks, but only Jacoby if you're not playing Adams for whatever reason, or if he's inactive, then I would just basically move Jacoby up and go Godwin, Amari, Jacoby, or maybe McLaurin in that point. But I hope that helps you out there. So good luck to you. We'll see how it goes. Okay, Ray said he's copying stuff on his clipboard. So just so you know, man, if I end up not getting to it, if it ends up being like too much because I'm already at the 2 hour and 15-minute mark, just go into the description, man. I'm sure you know, Ray, to join our private sleeper channel. It's free. There's a link right there at the very top. If I had Classic Mike here, I'd go run and grab it and throw it in the chat for you. Maybe Ron or someone there, one of my moderators, can get into that description and drop the link to the sleeper channel in the chat for me. That's the best place to, upload screenshots of your team. I can look at the other teams that you have. You can put those screenshots on there. I can go a lot more in depth because I'm not here kind of just live. We can go back and forth, over the course of the day and really dive into it a little deeper versus kind of the limited time. Even though I do take a lot of times on your guys' questions, I can even do more if you come join our private sleeper channels. So again, if you got big questions like that and it's not something, kind of who do I start or pick 3 like that, then, we want to take that to the sleeper channel. So, but again, I'll do my best to get to it. So we'll see what happens. He says he got Amari Cooper because some guy dropped him for Adam Thielen. Yikes. Nice come up. Let me get in that league with you. So there we go. So Ray, yeah, that's a little tough. Let me see. I'll just read it off and I'll try to give you my quick answer, but maybe we can continue in the sleeper channel once we get off the stream here. But he says Barkley Hunt, Christian Kirk, Christian Watson for Austin Eckler and Waddle. This will help pair up Waddle with Olave and DK. And I think Eckler is the better RB1. with a better team and schedule. So Barkley, Hunt, Christian Kirk, Christian Watson for Eckler and Waddle. Barkley, Eckler, Hunt is whatever. Christian Watson for Waddle. Yeah, I want like one more piece. Like 4 for 2 is tough, especially because you're including Barkley. Like I understand, Eckler's part of a better team and Waddle's part of a better team. But I think like Kirk and Watson could, have really good value. And Barkley, Hunt's kind of just a throw-in piece there that you're, giving away. But I'd want, Eckler and Waddle versus Barkley, Kirk, and Watson. I can see why you're doing it. So I don't hate it as much, but is what it is. He says, I don't feel comfortable with Saquon mostly because it's his offense for the team. Eckler seems to get more chances of scoring, and it's more involved in the passing game and creates a good game script both ways. So definitely. If you're not feeling comfortable with somebody, then that's the most important thing. Don't keep players that you're not trying to root for. Again, this is a game. We're rooting for certain players, guys you like. Don't just draft guys because, guys like me or, ADP tells you, this guy's better than that guy or someone's ranking list. More importantly, just, have fun with it. You want to be rooting for guys that you want. You want guys on, teams that you want to actually watch in real life. You're not stuck watching like Patriots Jets or something like that. So that's why I tend to not draft guys on teams that I don't enjoy watching. And if that's how you feel, then absolutely get it done. It's definitely not like you're not getting, fleeced or anything. And I definitely like the thought process and logic behind it. So go get it done, man. Absolutely. Let me know if it gets done. What else we got here? Oh, you went off on a bunch of other stuff on here. I'm not going to get totally in that because he's going in depth about who he has on other teams and all that kind of stuff. So copy and paste all that, throw it in the sleeper thread, and as soon as I jump off, I'll get in you and we'll go into that. So there we go. So G-Hop, I'm just going to start calling you G-Hop, man, if you don't mind. He said, it really pains me to bench Scary Terry. So yeah, man, it is kind of tough on that. Like I said, but like Ron was saying, Adams, Cooper, Godwin, he had a typo in there, but he fixed it. And he's saying, yeah, because Eagles can't cover the slot. Ron's a big time Eagles fan, so he knows the weaknesses of the team. So even if he's saying start someone against that defense, then I would take his word for it. And basically, we kind of agreed on that one as well. It does pain me, sitting against Scary Terry, but it's a tough secondary that they're going up against. Targets could be concentrated if Samuel does sit, but I think you have 3 better options. So just be happy that you have Scary Terry as your wide receiver 4, and that's okay. That shouldn't pain you. So there we go. He says, should I try and flip Terry for a QB? His QB's T-Law. I think you're fine with T-Law. Like I said, it's nice having that wide receiver. Again, anybody can go down, concussion, something like that. Kind of sucks when you're seeing, good guys on your bench. You feel like you need to kind of trade them off. I don't think it's the time for that in week 2. I don't like start kind of consolidating my lineup, as I like to call it, until we get closer. Maybe if you secure a playoff spot, or you look like you're pretty much a lock to make the playoffs, even if maybe your seed's not locked in there yet. Week 11, 12, that's when I start, kind of wanting to consolidate and just pumping up your starters to make a, make or break run, in the playoffs. So that's when you want to try to optimize your lineup to have the best, possible scores each week. And so that's when you kind of start selling off your depth to get to that point. So there you go. So yeah, I'd hold them. Oh, and he says his RBs are good. He has Kelsey. Very nice. So he thinks he only needs a QB. You don't even need a QB. You got T-Law. He'll be fine, man. It's only week 2. He's good. Ooh, he's 0-2. Yeah, it's a little tough, but I think T-Law will bounce back. And like Ron's saying, if you're 2-3 by week 5, you're still sitting fine, man. You don't need to be first place. Unless you got like first place, regular season awards in your league. Otherwise, the whole goal is just to get into the playoffs. Once you get there, then you can make some noise, and hopefully your team's on the up ascend by the time you're getting into the playoffs, instead of starting off strong early and kind of being on the down as you're going in. So keep that depth. Don't consolidate quite yet. Keep hanging out with us here every week, and we'll guide you right in when it's time to start consolidating your lineup there, man. So again, appreciate you for coming out, and we'll make it happen. So there we go. All right, let's try to finish up these games here. Where did I leave off? Bears Chiefs. So the next game is the Sunday night football game, man. We got the 1-1 Steelers visiting the Las Vegas Raiders, who are also 1-1 right now. Las Vegas opened up at 1.5-point favorites with a 43-point over-under. It's currently sitting at Las Vegas favored by 3 with the same 43-point over-under. As far as starts and sits here, quarterback position, sitting Pickett and Jimmy G. As far as running backs go, we're probably starting Najee, given how you drafted him. We had a couple of questions earlier that involved that. Josh Jacobs, you kind of got to fire him out. Obviously, coming off a negative game, negative rushing yard game. That's tough. Hard to kind of have some confidence firing him up, but hopefully he just got that out of his system and he can get back to the RB1 that he was last year, is what you're hoping. So I'd fire him up. Again, it's just week 3. It's such a small sample size so far. I think you got to just keep rolling with him and see what he does. As far as Jalen Warren goes, again, I think he has some flex appeal there. I'm not starting any other Raiders running backs there. Wide receivers, we're definitely firing up Devontae Adams. I like Jacoby Meyers as well if he's active. Again, looks like he's going to be done with that concussion. Same thing with Adams. I'm firing both of them up. We're sitting, Hunter Renfrow and those other guys there. Tight end position for the Raiders hasn't really been doing much so far, between Hooper and Meyer. So I'm sitting those guys for now until we see anything change. As far as the Steelers go, we're starting Pickens most likely if you need him, unless you have some other better options. But obviously with Deontay Johnson being on IR, he's going to, get those targets, and we saw him break the big play last week. But other than that big play, it wasn't looking that great for him. But again, those things kind of happen, and especially in Vegas, it could definitely happen. So you never know. And you're firing up the Muth. So get Muth going in your lineups as well at the tight end position. So pretty easy one on that one. Not too much controversy in that game. That'll wrap up our Sunday night football. So let's see. We have G Hop in here saying, thanks for the advice, guys. He's subbing and definitely coming back. That's what I like to hear, man. That's what's up. Really appreciate it, man. Absolutely. Heck yeah. So there we go. We're on our way to 1,000 subs, man. Just one subscriber at a time. So slow and steady wins the race, man. I love it. So again, appreciate all you guys out there, man. So let's keep it going. So there we go. So yeah, Ray has the love going out there too, man. Absolutely. Love it. Love it. All right, man. So we're on to Monday night. 2 more games left, and then we're out of here. It's sweet, bittersweet, man. It's bitter because obviously, I'm not going to be out here hanging out with you guys talking football anymore tonight. But sweet because I've been talking for almost 2.5 hours straight by myself, and it's a little tough, but here we go, man. So let's get into it. We got 2 Monday Night Football games this week again, which is very strange. Usually they kind of do it week 1 and then go away from it. Instead, they had only 1 game the first week and 2 games for week 2 and week 3. I don't like how they're kind of staggered. I like it when one's early and one's later. Having them kind of at the same time is a little strange, but hey, it is what it is. So we'll see what happens. So we have Eagles who are 2-0 going up against the 2-0 Bucks. So someone's taking their first loss here. We had it opening up with Philly favored by 5.5 with a 46.5-point over-under. Currently right now sitting Philly favored by 5 with the same 46-point over-under. As far as quarterbacks go in this game, you're obviously starting Jalen Hurts. Baker Mayfield's been pretty decent. You know, maybe you can get him in there as a super flex or QB2. But obviously, there's several other quarterbacks I'd rather start ahead of him in a one QB league. But he's been playing a lot better than I thought. His connection with Mike Evans, who I think you got to fire up here, based on his current production, you just got to kind of get him out here. It is a tough matchup, of course, with Darius Slay, most likely going to be on him. And Ron, I will refer to you. I will refer to you all things Eagles here. You know them better than I do. So let me know if Slay you think is going to be matched up with Evans. We already said, you mentioned they can't really cover the slot right now, so Godwin should have a good game there. And you got Trey Palmer kind of doing some things. Maybe he can get out there and be a flex. I believe Bradbury's still out, so we, I don't want to say weakness, but you don't have your two lockdown corners over there between Bradbury and Slay, so we'll see how that goes. Cade Otton, as far as the tight end for the Bucks, we're sitting him right now. On the Eagle side of the ball, the real question, you're starting Devontae, you're starting AJ Brown. That goes without saying. The real question comes in here between DeAndre Swift and Kenny Gainwell. Obviously, you guys went for about a half hour talking about DeAndre Swift in the chat over there, so I don't want to spark that again. But I think both guys are flexible. There's a position where I have to just, start Gainwell. And again, he was kind of the big waiver wire ad coming out of week 1 and then missed week 2 on a short week. But with kind of the mini bye week here, getting 11 days to recover, looks like he's going to be back dealing with those with the ribs injury. So I don't mind firing up each of them, but we're definitely going to have to see what the split is after, Swift showing last week and Gainwell showing week 1. And the only thing that scares me is Serrani was saying, and I've kind of mentioned it in the last couple of shows, the fact that he said DeAndre Swift, this was before heading into the Thursday night game. He said DeAndre Swift, is going to have games like he had last week, and there's going to be other games where he carries the load for us. And he sure did carry the load again to the tune of 178 yards and a touchdown last week. But with Gainwell being back now, and Boston Scott got hurt, so that's what led to Swift's big game. Penny's pretty much an afterthought at this point, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you feel about that. But as far as fantasy goes, at least it's between just Gainwell and Swift here. So I'm definitely interested in seeing how that's split. Most likely, you probably have to start these guys as RB2s either way. So we'll see what happens there. And pretty good run defense here by the Bucks. So we'll see what happens. So that's all I pretty much have for the Eagles Bucks. Let me pop in the chat here, make sure I always want to make sure if there's anybody new in here that we get. Ooh, I see all the love. I love you guys too, man. We got all the love going on here. We got all these hearts. What is this, a fantasy show or a dating show? I don't know what's going on in here, but no, man, it's all love out here. So there we go. Ron saying he hates the double games too. Yeah, it's just strange. I like them when they're staggered. I don't like them when they're on at the same time because I watch from my phone a lot, so I can't have 2 games on my phone. I can have one on the TV and one on the phone or something like that, and I have my 2 screens and my setup and my phone. I'm like watching 3 different games in red zone all at the same time on Sundays, but on a Monday when I'm getting the kids dinner and getting them ready for bed and that kind of stuff, it sucks kind of flipping back and forth that way. But either way, there we go. Let's see. Yeah, it's just talking stuff here. Gainwell, he thinks only getting 8 to 10 touches. I think they both can probably get 8 to 10 touches, but they might. I mean, Swift got 28 carries last week, so I think it's probably they'll each get like 15. I think. So, I don't know. We'll see. I saw the second part of the question. I'm going to go back. Ray said, speaking of Eagles defense, I don't know this, but James Bradbury, Fletcher Cox, and Reed Blankenship were fully practicing today. Ooh, I might have missed that then about Bradbury. So appreciate that heads up then on that. So Oh, and then G Hop's asking Ron again. This is just Ron's show. I'm just here. I'm just here so I don't get fined. They're asking Ron, since you're an Eagles fan, should I start Gainwell over Ford? And Rod said no. So he's going forward against the Ravens, I believe it was. So again, that's where he's saying why he thinks he's only going to get 8 to 10 touches there. So there we go. All right. So appreciate that. Again, anything all Eagles, always you can take what Ron's saying, just as long as he's not being sarcastic in there. But otherwise, he's always down to help you guys out with his Eagle knowledge, man. So we're on the last game of the week here, and it's a doozy. Rams, who are coming in 1-1, playing pretty good ball, going up against these 0-2 Bengals, our Super Bowl rematch. If you guys remember, obviously 2 different points of this team right now from when they met up in the Super Bowl. It opened up with Cincy favored by 2 with a 43.5 point over under, and currently sitting at Cincy favored by 3. Still at that same 43.5 point over under. The thing that's weird, usually with these lines, if there was any inclination that they thought Burrow was going to be sitting, I would expect that line. Actually, let me go check it before I get this out. So it's now Cincy. Oh, so it went from 3 actually this morning when I put the show sheet together. It's actually down to 2.5 now. And that's what I was just about to say, is if they had inclination that Burrow wasn't going to play, then I would expect that number to go down, which technically it went down from 3 to 2.5, but it still opened up at 2. Obviously, you get 3 points being home favorite. So that's kind of leading into Joe Burrow. I think if you have Joe Burrow, one of the good things you can do that could potentially work out here is if Baker happens to be available, or Stafford happens to be available, and you want to kind of take it to the umpteenth hour, that last hour, then maybe you can pop one of them on Monday if we get the official word. Obviously, if we get word of him being out, sometime on Sunday, then you can, result possibly to somebody you already have on your bench. But if you can go pick up, Stafford or Baker, at least just to throw somebody in this week, if you want to take that chance on playing Burrow, then that's something you can do. However, it's not looking great. A couple things again besides the spread changing and moving from 2 to 3 to down to 2.5 again. Bengals also signed Reed Sinnott from their practice squad, since he's familiar with the offense if they have to bring him in. And if you guys saw the interview from Jamar Chase after practice in the locker room, he said he was saying a bunch of stuff that didn't sound very promising on Joe being able to play, including the fact that he told Joe that he shouldn't be playing until he is 100% because he doesn't want him going out long term, as well as a bunch of other things in that interview. So if you can, definitely go check that out if you're a Burrow owner to see if that's something that could happen. If not, then maybe, like I said, I'd like to go Stafford if he happens to still be out there, and I'd roll with him if you want to wait. If not, start your other QB, one of the ones that are playing on Sunday. If you don't want to wait it out here to the last hour. As far as running backs go here, Kyron Williams, you're firing up. You're firing up Joe Mixon. Don't really like any other running backs here, like maybe Chris Evans or Travion Williams could get some work in there as well if there's no Burrow. But, Mixon should be carrying the workload there. Hinder your expectations with Higgins and Chase. Obviously, if Burrow's not playing, I don't think there's sits. We're starting guys that are attached to Baker Mayfield and, other guys like that. So people can come in and still be decent, as long as they have somewhat of a competent thrower. But we've also seen those, completely fail out. And even with Joe Burrow in there, Chase hasn't really been doing that great. And T. Higgins has a goose egg in one of his games out of the 2 as well, too. So it couldn't get any worse than that. So I don't know why you wouldn't go start him anyway. As far as the Rams side of the ball, you're starting Puka. You're starting Tutu Atwell. I would definitely take a chance on those guys here this week, the way they've been playing. Van Jefferson I have as a sit right now. He kind of looks like the odd man out, not someone that Stafford's been looking towards. But again, it's only been 2 weeks, so could have been, game plan, things like that. But Jefferson at this point seems to be, again, that odd man out. But find a way to get Puka in your lineup if you can. So that takes care of all of our games. Again, if you happen to miss it, I'm going to be putting the timestamps in there, creating those chapters, so you can just go game by game to hear who we're starting, who we're sitting. Of course, I'll finish out any other questions we have here in the chat, and we'll end up calling it a night here. So got a couple new faces in here, some names or returning folks. We got Brian back here in the house. What's up, Brian? MC, he says Kelley versus Minnesota or Devontae versus Miami. I think we actually had that same exact question or similar question earlier. I'm going to go with Kelley in this one. It's tough, but I think I'm going to go Kelley just because that Minnesota matchup is dreadful. So he should have opportunities to score there. Not that Javonte won't, but, Kelley's just part of a much better offense and a much better matchup as a whole. Let's see. We got Tresner back in the house. What's up, man? Saying, hey, Anthony. How's it going, brother? How you doing? Let's see. He said, what's the news on Eckler? So Eckler has been ruled out, my friend. He is out. So I'm worried that it's a high ankle sprain that he's dealing with. I don't know if you guys caught the podcast. You guys could probably search it on YouTube with Austin Eckler and Matt Harmon from Reception Perception, also working with Yahoo Sports. So that interview was kind of a little telling. He wasn't like, oh, I'm feeling good, and hopefully I'll be back there out next week. It was very just kind of vague, and I mean, obviously he kind of has to be vague anyway, but it didn't really sound promising, which kind of leads me to believe it could still be a multi-week absence. So he's not saying day to day, saying he's taking it week by week. He keeps saying, oh, I've played on bad ankles before, all that kind of stuff, but being taped up and not being 100%, but yet he's still not out there. And the team's 0-2, and they're still not putting him out there. So that tells me he's not ready yet. He wasn't even limited in practice at all this week. He was literally just there talking with the coaches. At least he was kind of back on the field, so maybe there's a chance he gets there when he's basically been out of the building kind of rehabbing all last week, but did make an appearance yesterday and today. So that's our Austin Eckler update. He is out, and he's like for show out, like out to where you could put him in your IR and go grab somebody out at this point. So there we go. G Hop says, damn, there's AJ Dillon on the wire. Should I pick him up and start him over Ford if I get him? He says he has 11 priority. No, I'd try to keep moving up that priority list for the next guy. You already have Ford here. He has a tough matchup. You knew that when you put your claim in for him anyway. These next 3 or 4 weeks are kind of brutal. But the whole idea is you're getting a starting running back for the rest of the season and not just a couple week rental. You got to fire him up if he's your guy, and just, hope he scores a touchdown. I wouldn't expect, 100 yards or anything like that. But if he can give you like 60 on 16 carries, 60 to 80 yards, total yards, passing and rushing, and find the end zone once, maybe even twice, then of course it'll be a good week. But again, this Baltimore Ravens defense is tough. So, and they're playing. I keep getting my matchups mixed up. They're playing the Ravens, right? Nope, they're playing the Titans, which is even worse matchup for Ford. So, so it's a little tough, but I think you just got to roll them out and hope for the best. And again, unless you have, I don't think AJ Dillon is a better option at this point. Just if Aaron Jones comes back. Because the Saints, rushing defense is pretty good as well too. So it's kind of pick your poison. I'd rather go with the guy who's going to get the volume and see what happens. So there we go. So he says, cool. He's he'll start Kelley. Yeah, and it's kind of tough. You wish you could start Kelley with some confidence. He had a smash spot last week, but didn't really come through. So so there it is. And Ron saying leave Dillon there. Yeah, it's tough, man. We're Dillon fans here. You guys seen the intro? If you haven't, make sure you go check out the intro. We got AJ Dillon in our intro there, man. wishing us all best of luck here on at Get Right Fantasy, man. So he's one of our boys. So I have him in a couple leagues. I started him last week. But again, it's early, man. It's only 2 weeks. I wouldn't leave Dylan out there. I'd still go get him if you have, someone to drop for him. Because if you can get a handcuff any type of running back right now, then you definitely want to have that guy on your bench. You don't want to have a second tight end. Maybe, I wouldn't want to have a second quarterback. If you can rack up these handcuff running backs, that's what I'm looking for. So here we go. And Ray was just saying what I was saying about Eckler to Tresner over here, and he said thanks. So there we go. And G Hop saying, when's Aaron coming back? He has a chance to come back. He's listed as questionable right now with that hamstring. Chance he plays. So just have to tune in on Sunday morning for Classic Mike and his active inactive show, and he'll be able to guide you there. Let's see. What else do we got here? Just everybody saying thanks. Oh, he said, I just got off work, was about to check, but I want to talk with the boys. So glad you came here first, man. That's what's up. Glad you caught us here. I'll be here just probably for a few more minutes, but dang, closing in on a 3-hour stream by myself. So we'll see, man. I didn't think it would be that long, but love the appreciation, and love you guys coming out here, hanging out with me here on a Friday, man. Love it. Let's see. Christian Watson, we're starting if he plays. His other options are Wilson or Tutu Atwell. I might take my chance with Wilson versus Watson. Again, I think if Watson does play again, coming off that hammy, hasn't played yet, going to go up against Marshawn Lattimore. It's a tough matchup. I'll take my chances with Garrett Wilson, possibly even Tutu Atwell before Watson. I want to see it one more week. And I mentioned that when we went over the Packers-Saints game there. So, yeah, and you don't want to pick him up because you're losing that priority. So, yeah, I just kind of leave him there to continue to move up that priority list if you guys don't have just like open free agency. Let's see. What else we got here? You guys are all just talking in there. I love it. Again, do you have any bigger minds, big games? You guys are all right. So y'all, it looks like y'all talking. So I don't see any other questions in there. If I missed anything, definitely put it here now, or forever hold your peace, or come back here on Sunday and ask Classic Mike and get his opinion. But as of now, I think I might start shutting it down here. So before I do, man, I got to let you guys know about TrophySmack.com, one of our sponsors here, of course, too. If you guys want to take your league to the next level, make sure you guys go check it out, man. They got awesome rings. They have these awesome belts, which are fantastic. They have your regular standard trophies, which are all fully customizable. So make sure you guys go check that out. And of course, they got that swag for your Kirk Cousins chain, as we like to call it. All their stuff's fully customizable over there at TrophySmack.com. So make sure you go check them out. Use that promo code GetRight when you do check out. Help support the show. And again, for as little as like, what is it, $7, you can get a custom ring. And we're doing this for one of our leagues that we started here this year. And I want to do one for our Dynasty League. And yeah, just have a 12-man league. Have everyone throw in an extra $7. And you get a ring you could own forever. So make sure you guys go check them out. And again, help support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, make sure you guys go check out the Fantasy Frontline podcast, man. Tim, I want to wish Tim, I don't know what you'd call it. It's not a happy birthday, but he just welcomed his second daughter to this world. So him and Mrs. Tim over there have a new one in the house. So congratulations to you guys, man. Make sure you guys go support the Fantasy Frontline podcast here on Get Right Fantasy Network. Go throw them a subscribe. The link's down in the description. And, he'll be getting back on here soon. We have Cody McGoats and the fellas over there at the Checkdown Podcast. And you got your boy over here, Adam, with the Dead Zone Fantasy Show. Again, all the links are in the description. We'd really appreciate it if you went out there or went in the description and gave them a sub as well. Helping us grow our channels here. So last thing I want to say here is if you guys are interested in maybe being a writer, doing podcasting, maybe getting your own show started and want to be, one of our affiliate channels here, and come put your content out here with us, man, doing any type of freelance work, behind the scenes production, whatever it is. If you want to be involved with a fantasy football YouTube channel and website, kind of want to get into the industry, so to speak, come talk to me, man. We'll set up a meeting. We'll talk. You can email me at getrightff@gmail.com, or you can DM me on Sleeper or Twitter at Rastafaran is my handle on both. Again, that's all in the description as well, so make sure you go check it out. I'll check these chats here that are just popping off. You guys are awesome. Make sure I don't miss anything before we sign off. Let me scroll all the way back up here. Let's see. So we have Tresner saying, y'all have a great evening, everyone. Much love from Florida. So appreciate you staying up late with us here, man. So there we go. We got like a little roll call going on in here. We got Ray from Indiana hanging out with us late here. Everyone's wishing everybody good luck. That's what we do here at Get Right, man. Again, unless you're playing me, I wish you all the luck. Otherwise, I want to take down the wins I'm in. So you guys are still talking football in there, man. Keep it going. Again, if you want to continue the talk after the stream, make sure you guys get in that description and come join the Get Right Fantasy Network private sleeper channel. A way to get in there. You can post your pictures. We do have injury updates there. That's where you'll find information about our mock draft tournament that we do in the off season for your chance to win cash, chance to get in different leagues, during the off season. And again, just during season, it's all about helping each other, giving our 2 cents on the days that we can't be in here live. So make sure you guys go check that out. Otherwise, Rasta la pasta. So there we go. So other than that, man, I'm going to shut this thing down here. We got G-Hop in here saying good night. See y'all next stream. We'll be here Sunday morning. Frank and I will be here on Monday doing our overreaction and waiver wire show. Then we'll be back here again on Wednesday with the Rasta management show, our buy, sell, trade targets, getting your rosters right for the rest of the season, kind of our season-long look. And then we'll be back here again, Classic Mike and I, next Friday to do our game-by-game start sit Q&A and game-by-game breakdowns. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, man. I did. I'm ready to go finish this beer off, man. Hopefully you guys enjoy your Sundays. And again, we'll see you here Sunday morning and back here on Monday. So have a good night, guys. Peace out. And let me hit the outro. Peace.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play. Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided.